Oh, hi. We're live. Are we going to press the intro button though?
Yeah, let me press it.
Do the intro button.
Drew, throw this up.
Whoa! It's Danford!
Ben Danford! Ben Danford! Here he yeah! Sit your ass down, Ben friggin' Whamford! Cutting through the middle on my watch? He's a machine. You must have spent too much time at the Tartan Tavern, which has since been shut down and converted to a place called Pollock's, if you think you're going to cut through the middle on Ben Danford in Oshawa.
Long live the Tartanic.
Long live the Tartanic.
Hi,
God
everybody.
bless it.
Welcome to the SDPN Free Agency Show. We just wanted to remind you that Ben Danford is a Leaf.
Wham!
Yes. And also, I just want to say that I read the funniest comment already on our video, which is pretty uneventful free agency day, excluding the Kings. Ken Holland is drinking stupid juice, which I think is a good one. Now, the current cap is $95.5 million, then $104 million in 26-27, then $113.5 in 27-28, and there just did not seem to be enough players to spend it on today. And a lot of that had to do with people re-signing and signing for a lot less money. Now, money spent on UFAs July 1st, 2024 last year. Obviously, we don't have the full totals from this year, but just to give you an idea of a different world that we lived in.
Give me an idea.
The Predators spent $122 million. $122.75 million. The Kraken, $94.5. The Bruins, $87.25. The Blackhawks, $60.2 million.
How did they
the
pull
Devils,
that off?
$53.25 million. And the Canucks, $51.5 million. 5 of those 6 teams failed to make the postseason.
Hot diggity gosh darn.
And by the way, that is from Sportsnet Stats. A big shout out to them. And there are things to talk about. But I just was watching the Brad Treliving press conference that he literally just gave right before we went live here. Do we want to start with Mitch Marner and Nick Hague and all that stuff? Because ultimately, I know that we're a Toronto-based podcast, but that is the biggest free agent signing of the day, bar none.
Yep. I don't know. I don't know.
Cody
man.
Ceci? Are you going to drop a Cody Ceci?
Or Matt Murray in Seattle.
You know what I was most excited about to start the day, and then it happened, and I was like, oh, it lived up to expectations? The Nick Perbix signing.
You said Nashville too, didn't you?
Yeah, I was pumped for it to happen. He went to Nashville, I called it, and Nick Perbix is going to make a lot of money when he probably shouldn't be making that much.
Hey, listen, the Perbix sweepstakes were hotly contested.
They were hot.
Everybody was like, where will Perbix end up?
Yeah.
And he ends up in a place that probably doesn't really need him that much. But
the Preds on D. I don't remember if it was The Simpsons or Family Guy. It's like, all right, sir, 15, hit me. 18, hit me. 21, hit me. 24, you're bust. Why are you still going?
Yeah.
I want to call Barry Trotz and just ask him for like a couple bucks because I think he'll just give it to me.
Well,
like,
Jesse,
oh, you have a nice
Jesse,
face.
you're tall and rangy. He wants to play you on defense. Man.
Yeah, just like here's $10. You can play D for us. You know,
100%.
Yeah.
So
Wait, on the other end of the phone, how old are you? Oh God, yeah.
Oh, no.
Ew,
I didn't like that.
I did not like that at all,
that
man. That's gross.
That's Barry Trotz's favorite quote.
Mitch Marner, 8 years, $96 million, a cap hit of $12 million a year. What was key to this deal getting done? The Marner camp originally wanted less years.
To ruin his reputation.
They wanted about 4 years.
To be a pain in the ass and complain about everything.
They wanted about
to mope every day of
4
their
years.
lives.
And they wanted to go higher than Mikko Rantanen. However, the other way to look at this is as you pointed out in your video, Steve, that 8th year, if it doesn't exist, then that cap hit goes up to $13.7 million.
Yeah, if for some reason his number is 96 million and he's sticking to it. The difference between 7 and 8 years is 13.7 versus 12 flat.
Right. And
pretty big difference.
It looks as though there's a no move clause. the entirety of the deal.
Don't ask him to move it. He won't like it.
Signing bonuses include this year $11 million, next year $10 million, and then 9, 7, 6, 6, 6, 5. So July 1st are going to be great days to be Mitch Marner. Base salary, roughly all the way through the deal, is between $4 and $5 million. So
I love it when the little guy wins.
Mitch Marner now a Vegas Golden Knight, and already they're printing jerseys at the Arsenal, which is where they sell all the stuff, the jerseys and stuff
Adam,
in Vegas.
Who gives a good gosh darn where they're selling it? What is the number on the back of
That'd be Doug Gilmour's number 93, which was Mitch Marner's number right up until he played for the Leafs when they retired a bunch of numbers. And Doug Gilmour did give Mitch Marner permission to use it, but then they retired his jersey, so he wasn't allowed to use it.
Right.
So
Right. And he chose 16.
Drew, you can bring this up. This is season ticket member Michelle is the first to own a Mitch Marner VGK jersey. Aw,
Now,
that's nice. You can't be mad at this.
For the audience at home, is she the one on the left or the right?
So,
Oh my God.
I got
Can you imagine if there was a guy in that suit?
Only you would have.
I don't know. Because we've been here for God knows how long, and I'm getting silly. I'm just getting a little friggin' silly.
That's cool. That's cool to give your season
is.
ticket member the first chance to own a Mitch Marner jersey. That's
Legitimately.
awesome. I feel like the Golden Knights always do good stuff for their fans because they're such a new franchise. They're always trying to do this kind of fan outreach stuff like this. And I wish the Leafs would do more of this stuff.
now, I just want to let you know there's some breaking news. Pontus Holmberg is signing in Tampa. Nick Abruzzese also left the team.
Son of a gun!
Alex Steve signed in Boston. It's a true diffusion of talent from the Toronto Maple Leaf system.
What did Holmberg get?
We don't know yet, but
10.
The reason the Leafs did not qualify him was because they were worried that his ARB rights might take him up to like $2 million a year. So then you'd have Holmberg, Kampf, and Yarncroke at $2 million, and that is not a lot going on for $2 million.
Well, I think he's going to excel at signing that contract. You know how I know? You only need one hand on the pen. Allergic to having two hands on his stick.
Listen,
Absolutely allergic.
I'm really excited for Tampa to watch Pontus Holmberg fall everywhere when no one's around.
I'm excited for a hat trick in his first game.
He probably will get one, and that'll be his only goals for the entire year.
Will he have more goals against a goalie than not in his first season against Tampa? This season with the Leafs, I don't think he did.
Can I ask you guys about the Mitch Marner thing?
Please.
What to you is the most interesting narrative of the Mitch Marner saga? Is it the legacy in Toronto? Is it him going to Vegas? Is it the negotiations? What part of it is the most fascinating to you?
I mean, most fascinating is easily that one of the biggest insiders, if not the biggest insider in the sport, was like, hey, there's lots of whispers around the NHL of tampering. And that's part of the reason the Leafs were able to get Nick Waugh out of the deal. Dude, the Leafs trade for Chris Tanev last year for his negotiating rights. It's a sixth. Well, Chris Tanev is not Mitch Marner. Okay. So Jake Gensel, his negotiation rights are traded for, what was it, a third? A second?
I forget what. It was a third.
It was a third?
Says, yeah.
So, and you get a roster player who won the Stanley Cup and makes $3 million this year and next at a time when salaries are kabooming. If Nick Waugh had no contract and was a free agent today, what does he get?
10 mil.
Drew said 6, and I think he's right.
Yeah. He gets a lot of money today when everybody's getting a lot of money. Yeah.
And that's what he's got left.
Yes.
So I think we're way glossing over the fact that a rather reputable source said, hey, there's whispers of tampering, and the Leafs are using it against Vegas in negotiations. Then the Leafs actually get the deal done. But because the trade went through,
So
it all goes away.
You're of the opinion that the Leafs use that leverage, because that's up for debate, because we all don't know if the Leafs had enough proof to file for that tampering charge and make sure it went through.
Let me just add that True Living would not answer questions on that at the press conference.
Obviously, yeah, he's not going to answer
It's like,
that.
I'm not going to get into it.
So I think that's very interesting that you think they did in fact use that leverage to their advantage and get Nick Waugh out of it.
I think there is a greater than 0% chance it happened.
There's no way they get Nick Waugh. There's no way they get him without it.
Yeah.
There's no way.
When
Even
was the last time-
there was legitimate smoke there. They got it. nobody wanted this to blow up and become a scandal. So,
What's
and
the
hey, by
roster?
the way, you know what Vegas needs to do? They still need to shed salary.
Yeah.
So Nick was a part of that, and they got Colton Sissons retained because Barry Trotz is insane.
Yes.
And they're fine.
And I think it's also fascinating that we knew about the Marner-Waugh thing. We knew about the Marner extension. We knew about the Nyes extension. There were whispers about Pietrangelo, but they all came out into the public in the wrong order. So the finagling that had to happen was exactly in this order. Marner signs a contract extension for 8 years with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Alex Pietrangelo announces that his career might be over. He's going to go on long-term injury.
Although his statement was, I'm like, what does this mean?
Well, he's leaving the door open to play again, but he may not.
No, that's not what his statement says.
No?
His statement just, it's like, that's a lot of words. And I'm like, so are you playing
What is it?
next season?
Bilateral femur something? Or
Yeah, like it's a serious injury.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I'm just like, I just, the statement to me was, I understand it was impassioned, but it didn't get me. If I didn't already know that he wasn't playing next year, I would not have known it even then.
All right.
After reading it.
Well, he's not gonna. Right. So Marner signs his 8-year deal with the Leafs.
Yep.
Technically, Pietrangelo announces he goes on LTIR. Then the trade goes through. Then you're able to announce the Matthew Nyes signing, because the Marner deal would have put Vegas over the cap. The Nyes deal would have put the Leafs over the cap. So you can't announce them until. So that was the delicate dance that they had to do.
Yeah, and just for people who don't know what Adam's talking about, this was Alex Petro's statement after he had to go on LTIR. The past few years have been very challenging on my physical well-being, and I'm in a difficult position with my overall playing health. After exploring options with doctors as well as my family, it's been advised to remove the intensity of hockey to see if my body can improve so that I can return to a normal quality of life. This decision has been difficult to come to terms with after the last 17 years of competitive and the camaraderie with my teammates and coaches. The likelihood is low that my body will recover to the standard required to play, but I know this is the right decision for me and my family.
Man, guys I covered in junior have busted bodies and their careers are basically over. It's a trip, man.
It sucks.
I saw him
It
play
sucks.
with the Barrie Colts.
Yeah.
The OHL final against Taylor Hall.
That could have been better written. I'm just throwing it out there.
Adam,
no, I
what
could
for
say it.
you out of the Marner story is your most interesting narrative?
I think the interesting narrative is the legacy part of it. And I did a video on this yesterday on the SDPN YouTube channel, but I do think, there are a lot of raw feelings with Toronto fans right now, and I get it, right? Like, I think that to say that the Marner camp could have used a PR agent to manage their public image is an understatement. I think that
Did Darren Ferris's checks bounce or what?
I don't think it's just a Darren Ferris thing. I think Darren Ferris handles all of his clients the way that they ask him to handle it. And, I think that the reality is that Mitch Marner, after his ELC, was the most popular Toronto-born sports athlete we've ever seen.
A Care Bear.
And
Actual Care Bear.
when that negotiation stuff started kicking off, it is the agents do act at the behest of the client and families of the client, and they wanted to make this a battle publicly. And and then what's crazy is that the Leafs rewarded them for it. Dubas and Shanny, and I put a lot of this at the blame of Shanny, who was bound and determined. We this is the plan, and we're sticking to it, and we will never change the plan. And then Dubas, who was ultimately, and to his credit, a human-friendly person, a team-friendly guy, a player-friendly guy, always doing right by the player. There was no basis for the Leafs to have to pay Mitch Marner what they paid him when Mikko Rantanen, who had just come off like a 2-round series for Colorado, same summer, signed for $2 million less a year.
The problem is I'm pretty sure Marner signed first. And everyone...
didn't. No, he did not.
Drew's saying no. Well, in that case, it's even worse.
Yeah. And so to me, that's when the it's like Lord of the Rings. It's like sort of like that's when the poison gets into the water a little bit, and then over the years it sort of festers. The reality is, like, this is a person. I was reading on Maple Leaf Hot Stove. This is crazy. the last 230 power play minutes Mitch Marner had in the playoffs, how many goals did he have? 230 minutes of power play.
0.
That's close, but it's not
1?
1.
Oh my god.
And at no point
Same
did
thing.
the Toronto Maple Leafs move him off the power play unit, try something new, do anything different. And I understand that Mitch is not like primarily a goal scorer. He was a dish guy. But frankly, that plus the performances in games 5 through 7, ultimately, then hearing you have that, and then you add on, well, he's never been appreciated in this city. And I have to tell you, most fans I talk to freaking love the guy. And so I feel like this whole legacy thing is going to be very, very interesting, because 5 years from now, how are we going to look at this? Is it going to be one of those things where we go, okay, the bad stuff sort of fades away and you remember the good times? This is the same city, guys, that got over Vince Carter. Got over the shit that Vince Carter did, and he burned the Raptors to the ground. He affected the Raptors negatively for a generation or two afterwards because he was such an asshole on the way out. And I have no problem saying that. I was one of those people who was like, I am not down to forgive Vince. I have since. But when they started to kind of hint at that, I was like, you know what? That guy can fuck off, right? Honestly. But now I feel like, okay, but there was he put the brand on the map. He changed sort of the city and how things operated. Man, he got bottle service approved in Toronto. Like, that's Vince Carter. Yeah, literally, it's in the documentary. If you've watched the Vince Carter documentary on Netflix, no. I think eventually Toronto fans, the Maple Leafs organization, and Mitch Marner years from now are going to come back together and go, let's remember the good things here.
Right. The one thing you said in there that I think is really important, a great point, is the power play part about him not being able to move him off that power play, because it was never an option with Mitch Marner to do something like that. With William Nylander, you could bench him and send him down to the fourth line and not play him. Was it? It was a big deal, but you could do it. Sheldon Keefe had the ability to do that to the other players on the team, but Mitch taking him off the power play, that would have been a catastrophe in the city, and starting with his people talking about that. They would have never let that happen. And that's where somewhere along the lines, whether it's Brendan Shanahan giving Mitch and Austin and those guys too much power, or the head coach being too lenient with those players, but somewhere along the lines, he gained that ability to bully the franchise back.
Or maybe when in William tandem Nylander, with Austin Matthews.
Yeah, because those are two players, too, you couldn't separate.
Yeah.
We talked about for years how they play better when they're not together. This past season was the best example of that, where Mitch Marner looked like a Hart Trophy candidate when he played by himself. But it was never an option to not play them together, because that's what they wanted. So this franchise is in a much better place by subtracting this player and having Austin do what he can do on his own and not having them together.
When Willie was benched and taken off the first power play, was his agent in the media trashing his teammates? Was his security guy calling people fat in the comments and saying, you'll never interview William Nylander again? And No, it was, and so I'm doing an era wasted video down the line.
I'm so excited for it. I wish it was coming out today.
Me too, because like,
why isn't it? What the hell have you been up to?
Stuff. Just getting baked, Adam. I learned my lesson from the Ryan O'Reilly stuff. I've been a good boy, because looking up at the TV when that trade broke, I went, "Oh shit!"
I was with you.
I know you were.
Yeah, I did the trade video.
Thank you, man.
Yes,
I really appreciate that, Jesse. No, with Mitch Marner, and like, I'm not going to go through the whole timeline. I'm just going to give you a little tidbit.
Yeah, we're not asking you to do the video here.
One big sticking point in his 2019 negotiations was for his ELC. His camp was bent out of shape about not getting full bonuses on his ELC.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you know when he signed his ELC?
When?
June 28th, 2015.
It's a long time ago.
Do you know when he made his Leafs debut?
Wasn't it
October 2016.
Yeah.
So he got drafted by the Leafs. Wow. A month later, signs his ELC. His camp held on to that resentment for over a calendar year before he even played a game. And then they held on to it. They held on to that for 4 years before he ends up signing a $65 million
I
contract.
think there's more to it than that, though, because the Leafs said it was our policy that we don't offer Schedule A's to rookies, and then promptly Austin Matthews held out till August. Remember?
Be first
Then
overall.
next year.
Be first overall.
Right. And then there's the Babcock list, and there's a few other
which was
things
bad.
that happened, right? That frankly, like Babcock even demoted him to the fourth line for like no reason.
Oh man, no rookie in the history of ever has ever got, like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
They held on to every slight, and I tell you what, Vegas better have minded their P's and Q's during that negotiation, or he's going to be mopey the whole 8 years. If not him, then the people around him.
Well, so this is what brings us to, I think, a part of the legacy. Because I mentioned the Leafs, I mentioned Marner, and I mentioned the fans. I can sense your frustration. And I think there are a lot of people that feel that way.
I think it's insane you have to justify criticism of this point.
There is vitriolic expression going on right now online. And some of it's borderline, you need therapy. Like, I'm looking at people and I'm going like, you guys, you're actually insane.
Don't vandalize property. Don't send death threats.
Yeah.
Don't do crimes.
But
generally speaking, please don't do crimes.
But to say that, and this is where I come back to, they needed a PR agent. Mm-hmm. And, I talked about it on Monday's show with you guys about how I think Monday, which feels like seven years ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like
That was yesterday.
they where you don't, and Frege even said it, you don't maybe have the media and fan pressure the same way in Vegas, but you've got organizational pressure.
Yes.
And they will trade your ass. It doesn't matter who you are if you don't perform when it counts. Now,
Fleury won
And
the
this is a
Vezina.
place where
Goodbye.
he didn't perform and there were no consequences.
Yeah,
he's in the opposite situation.
and so what's interesting about that, Jesse, and I want to jump in. I want to add Matthew Nyes to this. Matthew Nyes came out and said, I never wanted to do a bridge deal. I wanted to stay as long as possible. I was on my way back from a concert. My friends found out about the deal and everybody was super excited. And he said, we get treated amazing.
God, it's just not hard.
And so
It's just not hard to say that.
And
It's
so
just not hard.
And I think that therein lies the thing. And I guess the passage of time gives you perspective. So you asked me what I'm most interested in as a part of this.
Yeah.
My interest is 5 years from now, 10 years from now. How do we look back on this player? How do we look back on this era? I said in the video last night, he's almost top 5 in scoring, if not already top 5 scoring as a lead.
He's throughout the record books.
Yeah, he's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I don't think they'll retire his number. I don't think he'll have a statue on Legends Row. And I feel like this is a wasted opportunity by we didn't know it
If he did get a statue, they'd complain it wasn't tall enough.
We didn't know at the time that we didn't know what Shanny and Dubas's limitations were in terms of managers. The reality was both of them were first-timers. Shanny had come from the Department of Player Safety.
What a mistake.
And Kyle Dubas had worked under Lou Lamoriello and then became the general manager the summer that all the William Nylander shit went down after Tavares got signed, and didn't want to have the pain of having Mitch Marner sit till December or later mess up his season. And what he ended up doing, along with COVID, was handcuffing the team because he wouldn't fight. And I feel like if you were to ask Kyle today, you give him truth serum, he would have been like, no, we made a mistake there, and we should have ground them down to the end.
You could have traded Nylander. You could have traded Mitch.
But I'm just talking about that specific negotiation.
I know.
So,
But,
because
like,
that to me is where this all starts.
Yeah.
It starts there.
Yeah. I feel like we're doing the era wasted video right now.
Well, no, I'm just talking about the legacy part. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Drew's telling us to move on, and I'm telling Drew, you know what? You're here like 3 times a year. You don't get to tell us what to do. Thanks for making the
it's
drive.
going to be a long show.
Yeah.
We're getting comfy. This was a lot of transactions
now,
today.
news
This
is
is the
breaking
biggest
through.
one.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, and I know. I just want you to know, by the way, Granlund just signed in Anaheim for 3 times 7, 3 years, $7 million per. I'm glad. Listen,
Pretty nice deal, actually.
good deal for the Ducks. They still have $39 million to spend after that. No,
Wow!
sorry, not 39. That would be if the Sharks had signed Granlund. I think the Ducks now have 23 million to spend or something like that.
Still.
26 or something.
Still.
Crazy. The Ducks,
Wow.
by the way, the Sharks signed Klingberg. We don't know how much. Just, it's out there.
Yeah, stuff is happening.
Because the Sharks are going to have to hit the cap floor here. I think that they were expecting Mitch Marner to be available. I'm pretty sure they were interested. The Ducks were very interested. I know that the LA Kings were extremely interested. And for him not to make it to market, along with a few other players, I think really shocked people. Brock Besser re-signing in Vancouver. We're not getting into that right now. We're gonna stay where we are. But what's interesting is watching how certain general managers pivot, and some of them go, "Okay, we just won't do anything," which is sort of what the Leafs did today. And then you've got Ken Holland going, "You know what? Let's go get somebody else then." So I want to talk about, Jesse, I want you to answer that same question. I'm sorry it took so long to answer it.
No,
Legacy,
all good.
Marner, or whatever else it is. What's the interesting part for you?
Yeah, I'm very fascinated by the fan reaction that's coming out of this. And if the fans are going to end up forgiving him at some point, there's going to be a tribute video next season when Vegas comes to town. And I imagine there's going to be a lot of boos at the time from the Leafs crowd. But I think half of them are going to be cheering him because that relationship he had, it was a not all evil relationship. Like there were moments where he was the favorite son in this city. You know, people truly loved him. So I think it'll be a very mixed reception.
Let me tell you something, because I know the face and tone I get whenever I have to talk about this guy. People are defending Mitch and his legacy and everything he did with the Leafs. And I'll tell you who I'm not going to hold anything against, or I'm actively going to make an effort to not hold anything against them. People who are big Mitch Marner fans and in and around the age of 20.
Oh my God.
No. Okay. And the reason for that, he was a Leaf for 9 years. They started cheering for this guy when they were 11. If you're younger than that, you probably are so young you don't even remember his first goal.
Yeah.
That I remember as clear as day. And we all have a soft spot for our childhood heroes. Like Adam will bring up Felix Potvin's stats and I'll be like, "How about you kiss my ass and go away forever?" Like I have never even bothered to look up like where he ranks, and I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
That's your boy.
Because my memories of Felix, they still pure. They're so pure.
Yeah.
And I don't expect anyone to look into the dark, dirty laundry or many misgivings of like their childhood heroes.
Yeah, I think if you were to criticize a child for looking up to an athlete that they cheered for as a child. No, I'm talking about 20-year-olds.
They're adults now.
No. They're 20. They're
not really adults.
They're really young.
They're young.
Yes, those aren't full-grown adults.
Yeah, but they yell at you like grown-ups.
Yes.
Sure, but I'm talking
That's
about
the difference.
If you are a grown adult in your 30s and 40s and you're in a microphone,
whoa,
and you're talking
30s and 40s,
and you're talking about a child who's 20 and grew up with Mitch Marner when he was 13 and cheered him, and you're getting mad at that person?
No, I just said I'm not doing that.
Yes, but you're saying I'm not going to get mad at those people. Yeah, if you were to get mad, then you're a bad person.
Yeah.
Like, those are bad people who would get mad at a 20-year-old for rooting for their childhood idol.
Yeah.
No,
I don't think we need to come on here and say that. Don't get mad at children for liking their idol.
No, but sometimes I go, Jesus, what's your problem? And like, I thought I was making good points, and that's your childhood idol.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's millions of people like that.
Sure.
Who root for this team.
And I think ultimately, this is a guy who was more loved than disliked, but as humans are known to do, we could have 10 compliments on our YouTube video, and there'll be that one person who goes, "You know what? You guys are all fat and ugly." And then I'll go home and go, "Why does he think I'm fat and ugly?"
And then Steve's going to come on this show and talk about that one comment.
Yeah.
Instead of the 10 that were nice to him.
But that
Look, screw all those ones.
I think that's what happened in this situation, right? Like, so.
You ever get a stain on your shirt? Most of the shirt is the color it's supposed to be.
It's true.
What I thought was interesting about Brad.
So what's your problem? It's just a stain.
What I thought was interesting about Brad Treliving's comments on Mitch Marner is he finally gave us an in-season perspective a little bit about how things went. And what he talked about was, he said, we tried to engage them in the regular season. And again, I'm going to paraphrase here because I don't have the quotes directly in front of me. The reporters are even still tweeting them out. Try to engage them, and we obviously held out hope, but it became clearer and clearer that he wasn't coming back. And so, we had to pivot and do other things. And so we finally got a little bit about Matthias Maselli, who they picked up a couple days ago, which was literally like Sunday, was he not? It wasn't that long ago.
Wasn't that yesterday?
I have no idea anymore.
I think it was yesterday.
They got Michael Pizzetta today, who's basically he's going to play 20 games, punch people, and he grew up a Leaf fan. You got Nick Hague, who, by the way, who the hell is Nick Hague? Is he good? I don't know.
Oh, Nick Waugh.
Nick Waugh. Sorry, not
Waugh.
Nick Hague. Nick Hague went to.
I like Nick Waugh.
Why do you like Nick Waugh?
He is big and belligerent and a good playoff performer, and $3 million this year and next. And a right-handed center, which they haven't had in a very long time.
There you go. Okay. So, those are the sort of the biggest news story. I mean, Mitch Marner is the story of the day. And I'm sorry, chat, that doesn't please you, but he is literally the biggest free agent signing this year. Yeah. Always was going to be.
We literally haven't talked about it on the Steve Dangle podcast where we're a Leafs fan.
Yeah, and this is this is the Steve Dangle podcast, right?
Yeah.
We haven't?
No, it happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Yo, okay. So we did the podcast yesterday. I did a video here. Then I did 4 at home. You did how many?
I
videos?
did 3 or 4 last night.
3 or 4? You did at least a couple?
Yeah.
Maybe more?
4 or 5 or something.
You did 4 or 5, and then we came in here, and how many videos have we done today? 20?
Yeah.
15, 20?
A lot. Yeah.
I don't know what day it is. Tuesday, I think? Thursday? Saturday.
July 1st.
March. Yeah.
Okay, so the Leafs have just announced 4 straight signings.
Woo!
And they're interesting. So Michael Pizzetta, 2 years.
Yes.
Travis Boyd on a 1-year deal.
Oh, they got him back.
Dakota Mermis has re-signed for 2 years.
Okay, I kind of thought he might. Okay.
And Benoit Olivier Gruel. Benoit Olivier
Oh,
Gruel.
is it spelled with an X?
Yeah, Gruel.
Yeah, I'm aware of this player.
Yeah,
that is
who
the
is a
most
Duck.
I can offer.
Oh,
They got a defenseman from the Ducks?
yeah.
Stud. Immediate stud. Fan favorite. Hell yeah.
Now, I want to mention this, and Drew just sent this through, but
Drew's sitting there like, I got to do a Gruel video.
yeah, you do. You got to do a video for all 4 of these
Hell
guys.
yeah. No way.
No. It's the same video.
Oh, okay,
It's the
good.
same video.
Yes.
Bob McKenzie says, I am exchanging my semi-retired TSN life for the last 5 years doing World Juniors, NHL draft rankings, handful of Maple Leafs broadcast, trade center, and free agency for the fully retired life. Bob McKenzie
Bless him.
is officially retiring, and we just want to give him a big round of applause. Bob has, behind the scenes, always been very encouraging and really good to us.
Yes.
And we thank him not only for his insights and the advice that he offered, but also for being just a great all-around guy that we all grew up watching.
Oh,
We'll miss Bob.
I mean, the Bob father, man.
Yeah.
The Bob father. He was high school.
He
He's
sure
the
was.
reason My grades would be better without Bob. That's not true. That's not even close to true. He even gave me the time of day when I was writing my book. I was doing some of those all-time conversations, and I just shot in the dark. Bob, what's yours? Brrr, huge long answer.
That's really cool.
So awesome guy.
Now let's go to the Anaheim Ducks and Michael Granlund signing for 3 years, $7 million. Now Dom Luszczyszyn's card has him market value at about $3.5 to $4 million, but it's the Ducks. They have a fortune to spend, and really nobody to spend it on. This is a 20.
no.
Granlund's that's not bad. I think we've got
He'd be great paired with David Kampf.
one of the things we're talking about.
Let's go.
One of the things we've been talking about today is you go, what do you mean that guy's making that much?
Oh,
and
I
we'll
know.
talk about some of the deals that went through. And then you kind of break it down. You go, oh, well, with the cap going up, I guess that sort of makes sense. Granlund, along with, Kreider and some other guys that have gone to the
Truba.
Ducks. Truba in the
Udis
last
makes a
year.
ton of money. Killorn makes a ton of money.
And yet they still have so much to spend.
Strome makes a lot of money.
I'm wondering, not Veleno, who was the guy that signed with deferred money and then everybody copied them?
Oh, Vetrano.
Vetrano.
Another Italian name. That's all right, Adam.
Yeah. So
Call him Luigi McMario or whatever you want to call him. Go ahead.
it's an interesting group. I feel like it makes the trade of Trevor Zegras a little bit weirder. I guess they were really hoping that Marner would make it to the market, not because they could have kept Zegras and then just continued to add. And what are they saying now, Jesse? How much cap space at the top of that page?
Yeah, I can scroll up.
I think it was 26?
$28.9 million.
I mean,
in
basically,
cap space.
that's basically 29.
That's insane. That's a crazy amount.
They're
of money.
not at the cap floor yet.
Floor is
Still
$70 million.
Wow.
They're still $4 million away.
Now, they do have a Dostal extension to get through, and that will more than cover it. I imagine.
Yes. Yeah, they still have money to.
Oh, and
give
Mason
out.
McTavish.
Mason McTavish.
They'll be fine.
Helston needs a new contract, and Dostal needs.
The Sharks legitimately might not be. Like, I'm not sure how they get to spend. I think the Sharks are going to need to spend $16 or $17 million before the start of the season via trade, I would assume, to just hit that cap floor of $70 million.
And I have every reason to think they were in the market pitching people.
Oh, yeah, they were. They were. And Granlund, though, I mean, he was pretty valuable as a part of that Dallas Stars run. He was great in San Jose. Kind of surprising he didn't go back there.
Well, they got a first-round pick for him.
What do you do, or what do you feel about Granlund's addition to this team? I feel like, and I felt like they were making a lot of good moves, and then I didn't understand the Zegras move at all. Didn't understand why they had to do it right now. I think they're still sort of poised for the playoffs. I don't understand why they, other than John Gibson wanting out, why did you take Peter Mrazek's money back?
That one's a little confusing for sure.
Every time you think, I'm like, Pat Verbeek, I think I got, nope, don't understand.
Then signed Husso.
Yes.
Also. With Zegras, I mean, yeah, the value in that trade is terrible, but I think they were done.
Yeah, but should you be? Like, that's, I agree with you. I think you're right, but I think their feelings are wrong.
I think Zegras would be worth more today had they hung on to him in a trade.
Looking at their cap situation, you can just hang on to that player. Like, who cares if he's on the roster? You're $40 million under the cap.
You ever have friends break up and you thought they were engaged? Like, yeah. Oh, hey. Oh, they're about to tell me they're engaged. Oh, they broke up.
Yeah. Drew, go ahead.
My thing is, don't you think Joel Quenneville's like, nah, this guy's not playing for me? I think that's what happened with Zegras.
Yeah.
We speculated that the day when it happened, that he might have walked in and just not liked the player.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I don't like eggnog. Get it out of the fridge.
Yeah. By the way,
that a reference to?
Vitek Vanacek.
The chat knows.
Okay.
Vitek Vanacek just signed with Utah, 1 year, $1.5 million. So the Florida Panthers are going to have to find a backup unless they have one.
They did. Danil Tarasov signed a deal just over $1 million earlier today. I think it was $1,050,000.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so let's move on to one of the other surprising contracts of the day. In fact, there's three from this team. Brock Besser, Connor Garland, and Thatcher Demko. We'll start with Brock Besser, who was going to leave Vancouver. We were told over and over again they couldn't get close. He wanted 8. They wanted 5 in terms of years. And it seems like at the last minute, Vancouver said, fine, we'll do 7. And 7 at 7.25. Brock Besser left millions of dollars on the table. There is no question. And it's kind of hilarious because going into today, and if you're a Canucks fan, you saw this too, there sure were a lot of prominent Canucks accounts saying Brock Besser never cared about the Canucks anyway. He's leaving just for the money. Don't forget Brock Besser doesn't
Those
like
are just
it, whatever.
Leaf fans posing as Canucks fans.
Yeah,
that's how toxic Leaf fans
That's probably true.
That's how toxic
it's probably, yes, that's the Leafs
really toxic.
hiring troll farms.
Yeah, it's only them.
But you have Besser staying at $7.25 million. Demko, that contract is going to end. Obviously, you got the $5 million deal. Demko will be making $8.5 million starting next season.
I disagree, Adam.
And then
because you said Demko's contract is going to end. I don't think it is.
It doesn't end. It just goes up, I guess.
It just keeps going forever.
And Connor Garland at 6 times 6. And we talked about what value is where. It's so interesting. Besser, 50 points in 75 games. Garland, 50 points in 81 games. Kind of the same, but a bit of a different amount of money.
Well, I mean, Besser at his best is a killer.
I know,
that. Honestly, like all things considered, like not looking at Demko. I mean, Demko it's easy to talk about. Like we talked about it earlier. They're betting that Demko is Demko and not the shell that we saw this past year because he was dealing with injury. Garland and Besser, with some of the contracts that we saw handed out today, those are downright reasonable. Honestly, like the Garland one we were talking about this morning, like, it seems kind of rich. And then as the day went on, we're like, oh, that actually makes Garland look better. That makes Garland look better. And it just kept going.
They did a good job with the value on these deals. Now, the mix.
Shut up.
I'm unsure about. I'm unsure if this collection of players is the right collection of players to go on a deep playoff run.
Agreed.
But in a vacuum, those people making those dollar amounts is correct.
Sure.
For their value to those teams. It's actually, I think, a pretty little bit of a discount for Besser, and even Garland at 4.9 is pretty good value. So like I like where those guys sit, but I'm not sure about the collection of players on the Canucks.
I think you're probably right about that. The one thing you can say, Lankinen, man, I got to give him full credit.
Oh, yeah.
That guy waited until training camp to sign, looked for a hole, and the hole happened to be Thatcher Demko's knee. And he found his spot on the Vancouver Canucks thing, made them re-sign him. And then Demko was like, well, like I understand why the Canucks are spending this much money on the goaltending position because, frankly, it's their strength now. It's the best part of this team.
He turned it into FU money.
Absolutely.
If things went wrong for Lankinen and he had to retire at the end of his contract, he's never got to work again.
The one thing I do got to say, Steve,
What?
is had Lankinen hit the open market.
Today?
Yeah. With Jake Allen not being there and we'll talk about Jake Allen's deal in a bit, he could have made a lot of money. Like a lot of money.
Who was the most expensive goalie signed today? You know who I think it was?
Who?
Dan Vladar.
3.3 million, Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who had a
probably.
higher cap hit than Dan Vladar today?
It's a good question.
In net.
Really, really good question. I don't know.
But then you're going to be going somewhere you probably don't want to go.
Goalies signed today. Dan Vladar has the highest cap hit out of all of them. If you're not counting Thatcher Demko re-signing.
And big save it, David. Is it what, 2.5 million?
Yes.
In the year of our Lord.
Dave Riddick is
No,
even Matt.
Dave was only $1 million.
Oh, he's only
I think you're thinking of Anton Forsberg was 2.2.
yeah.
Maybe that.
Matt
Which is
Murray,
spicy.
no
Matt
longer
Murray
a Leaf,
played 2 NHL
is
games.
$1 million. Alex Lyon was 1.5. Vanacek was 1.5. I mentioned Forsberg. Capo Kakinen was 1.1, and Vladar coming at 3.35.
Matt Murray played 2 more games than I thought he did.
Well, hey,
And he got $1 million.
Hey, we were just talking about though how the Kraken, who are, we'll get to them later too. They're just the most perplexing vanilla franchise I've ever experienced in hockey. Like I don't know what Ron Francis is doing. How many coaches has he been through? This is his 2nd or 3rd general manager. And they were like, you know what? Let's get the Buffalo guy. Let's get the guy from Buffalo.
You keep saying that.
You do not like Botterill.
Mulligan. I say Mulligan.
I just feel like if you're gonna get Botterill, put him as an assistant GM. You're putting him in charge, man. You gotta. Sometimes you like, hey, this didn't work out, and maybe there were reasons why. Maybe we test him out in a smaller role first.
Listen, no, I think it's the smart bet. All the Buffalo players have been going on to win cups everywhere else.
That's
what
true.
about execs?
That's true. You know what?
Good strategy.
Ralph
point.
Kruger coming back.
Good point. So that they don't want to buy out Philip Grubauer for whatever reason. Matt Murray, I think, is Philip Grubauer insurance.
He very literally is.
He is.
Yeah, no, you nailed it. And if Grubauer returns to form, fine. And also, like, I will say this, like, if you're not like a cap team or whatever, $1 million for your 3rd goalie is fine.
Yeah.
It's totally fine because a 3rd goalie is something you don't ever want to need.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because when the time comes, oh damn! Like there are guys you can call up from the NHL, and they could give you 5-10 games on your 4th line and be a-okay.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, they might get found out. Eventually, scouting reports, whatever. Man, if you have a goalie who's not ready,
You can't hide.
you don't have a shot.
Yeah.
You don't have a chance to win that game, and we've seen it many, many times in many, many markets.
Yeah, and the amount they're spending on goaltending, I know it's just $1 million, but now it pushes it to $11.9 million for 3 goaltenders.
And only one of those is good.
Joey Decord.
One of them we know is good. Matt
Yeah.
Murray might be good,
He
but
might
we don't
be.
know.
We don't know.
He literally hasn't played hockey. We don't know.
I think they try to salvage Grubauer one more year, and if
Why?
he's still bad, because
they-
the buyout sucks, and so you try to move
the
on.
buyout was
The buyout's-
reasonable.
It was reasonable, but I think they think it sucks, and then at the
Yeah.
end of the year, it sucks less.
I think they even said that. They're like, we think he can regain his form.
Oh,
so I guess the previous 3 or 4 years, that wasn't good enough for you, eh?
He has been bad since he put on a Seattle uniform.
Do you think it's the fact that he's a former Av?
100%.
Yeah? Yeah, probably screwed him up.
I know Drew loved him in Colorado.
If you
Did love him,
buy
Drew?
out,
Were you sad to lose him, Drew?
yeah, you say?
He says no.
Yeah, no.
Absolutely not.
This is the buyout for Grubauer if you did it today. You saved $3.9 million this season, $2.8 million next season, and then the next 2 seasons you only owe $1.6 million.
See, this is where Adam's not thinking about his thought process, though, because they're going to save all that money and they're just going to spend it on another middling defenseman.
Well, I mean, listen. If your MO is slow guy.
Oh, no, they're going to get a guy who scores 40 goals
Yeah,
for sure.
no, they
Stop
certainly
it.
are not. Well, they have him. His name's Jared McCann.
Last year.
Something that it's sort of hard to believe now because it feels like so long ago. But Tony DeAngelo re-signed with the Islanders, and I want to add to that the Islanders also. We're just going to go team to team here.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how we're going to handle this. By the way, I want you to treat this like it's a normal podcast because that's what this is. People are like, "Why are you talking about this thing right now?" We're not doing Trade Center from TSN, dude. This is a podcast. It happens to be a live one, and if you want to wait for your favorite team, you're going to have to. Otherwise, you can listen later. But we love having you here, and we love your comments. Now, Tony DeAngelo, 1 year, 1.75. Jonathan Drouin, 2 years, $4 million AAV. And I think this is a pretty interesting thing. The Islanders can't freaking score.
Listen, enough. When's Allen coming to Toronto? I need a free dinner.
Oh, because of that.
You think I'm reaching for my wallet next time Allen comes to town? Puckpedia exists. I'm not reaching for nothing, Alan. It's on you. A toast to Alan Walsh. I'm not reaching for nothing. I know what Drouin got. I saw Faxa too. Who else did Highmore?
Yeah.
You thought you'd sneak Matthew Highmore in on me. Highmore to the Isles as well. Drinks on Alan.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, it's good to have him. Now here's the problem with the Isles that I see. They got lots of playmaking. Who's scoring? Who's scoring on that team?
Well, and
Brock. Nope. Who's scoring?
Well, Barzal, playmaker.
That's what I'm saying.
Anders Lee, who's got a year left.
Is he playing half an hour every night? Pajot might be on the move.
Horvat can score.
Horvat can score. Scorvat. Yeah.
The thing about the Islanders this year, I don't think they intend to score. I'm a big fan of the Islanders taking a step back year. They've collected so many good prospects in the last 7 days. Plus, date back to free agency on that Brock Nelson deal. They got a couple good guys there too.
Callum Ritchie. What a bunch of idiots in Colorado.
They got Heineman. They got Ritchie. They got Aitchison. They got the first overall pick in Schaefer. They got so many. They got Eklund who fell to them.
Puckpedia has him involved in the press
Schaefer
box.
Pride, is he really cut out for the NHL?
They got so many good players there that I'm not concerned about the future of the Islanders, and I don't think they need to be good this season. They're going to be good for 5 years.
Drew, what do you want to say?
What do you want?
What the hell do you want?
I was just going to say, these guys are going all in for McKenna. That lineup stinks.
Yeah.
Let them do it.
Trade Anders Lee, trade JG Pajot, get everything you can for these free agents and tank for them, and then be so good for a decade after all of your young prospects mature.
Isn't there some kind of rule where you can't
win it more than twice, I think.
In over a 3-year period.
Yeah,
So if they win
the Oilers rule.
The Oilers rule, yeah. Is it 5 or 3?
I think it's 5.
5 years?
I don't know.
You got pulled on your mic.
I think it's 5 years. It's twice, and they've already won it once. So
Okay, well.
They can win it next year.
You could do worse than
let
Gavin
them win it.
McKenna.
They can't win it after that.
Yeah, well, and you know what? If they get McKenna, who cares? I look at this and I look at the Islanders and I'm thinking, okay. First off, by the way, there are rumors about Scott Mayfield being shopped by Matthew Darche. The problem is, as with most Lou Lamoriello contracts that are 7 years long, nobody wants it.
No, Seattle exists.
If Seattle does exist,
Predators exist.
so do the Sharks.
The Predators, Sharks, and Kraken exist.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Barry.
open for business.
Call Barry. Call him. That honestly, being at the Sharks game and doing that was one of the most fun things I've ever done in my life.
That's every time they go in the power play, right?
Absolutely.
You can't even be mad.
It's incredible.
So
You're like, oh no, they're gonna get you.
For anybody who's never been to a Sharks game at the SAP, the Jumbotron eats the player in the penalty box
Yes.
with a shark mouth, and then the crowd does this as the shark mouth is eating the guy who took the penalty.
It's the best.
It's so cool.
So many things about Sharks games are just the Sharks winking at the audience, going, "Isn't this silly? Isn't this silly?"
Aren't we fun?
And it is. And it is fun. It is fun and very silly.
Okay, so I want to ask a little touch on Tony DeAngelo here too, because obviously You did a little research on Tony DeAngelo, and
Yes.
a lot of what Noah Dobson brought, Tony DeAngelo sort of brings to not everything. I don't want Montreal Canadiens fans taking me out of context
No,
and
his
losing their
plus-minus
minds.
is horrendous.
Horrific.
It's a horror show.
There's a
but
difference between what they make too.
His
So,
even strength time on ice was almost identical to Dobson, and his per game, and his power play time on ice per game was also identical to Dobson. He was second in even strength time on ice per game on the Islanders last season behind Alex Romanov. So apparently Patrick Roy's plans are to just play the wheels off this person. It'll be a highly watchable product next year, even if they do stink, like Drew said. You know, you got a puck-moving defenseman. I'm just not sure who he's moving the puck to.
Yeah, Romanov, who they re-signed yesterday.
yes.
Ooh, money.
Yeah, that was $6.25 million for 8 years.
Now, something we have not done a video on yet, but I guess we can count this as our video on it. We can cut it. Is Gavrikov and K'Andre Miller. So for months,
We've been waiting on this for hours.
Vladislav Gavrikov has signed with the New York Rangers. It's a lot less than I would have expected. And I remember we talked about a couple of years ago when he signed a 2-year deal with LA after being traded at the trade deadline. Not to LA. I think was it not Carolina? He got traded from Columbus to somewhere. Boston?
No, it was LA.
Was it LA?
It was LA. I want to say it was him and Corpus Hallow in the same deal.
Is that what it was?
I think so.
So Gavrikov stayed there for those 2 years, and everybody's like, why didn't he sign a long-term deal? And we were like, the cap is going up. The cap's going up.
You had that from the beginning.
And he was very, very smart. Signed for roughly just under $6 million for 2 straight years, and then was like, I'm going to capitalize at the end of it. Now, sometimes when you get to free agency and you look at the options available to you, you go, yeah, but I want to play there. And it was pretty clear he wanted to be a Ranger. He wants to be in New York. You know, there's a lot of Russians in New York, you know, guys like Pinar and stuff like that, and Shesterkin. So maybe some friendships there, that sort of thing.
That's two.
And you also believe, I can't name the entire Rangers roster. I have no idea if there's other Russians on it, but those are notable guys. You also have to think that the Rangers are going to rebound. I don't believe that you go from President's Trophy to whatever the Rangers were last year and it just stays that way. I do think the Rangers are better than what they showed us because, as you said earlier in this broadcast, Steve, who on the Rangers had a good season? Not one.
Not a whole
single
lot
person.
of guys. Like maybe Will Cooley.
Yeah.
Like that's maybe it.
Who needs to be re-signed. So Gavrikov goes and he accepts 7 times 7 in New York. So that's a big contract. It's $50 million. There is no question he could have got more elsewhere, though.
You want Gavrikov or Haig?
Gavrikov.
You want Gavrikov or Ball?
Gavrikov.
You want Gavrikov or Romanov?
Gavrikov.
It's, you know, that's a little closer, right? Like all the guys I just mentioned
Or
do not
Provorov.
make much less. Oh my God, what were they thinking?
We'll
with
talk about
deal?
that. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
8.5.
No.
No. Columbus
no.
are spending silly dollars.
Back
Anyway.
away, not today, disco lady.
yeah.
No, didn't want that.
So Gavrikov goes to New York, and then that brings up the question, well, he's a left shot guy. K'Andre Miller is the restricted free agent. What are they going to do with him?
That one's super confusing.
And so he has, so just so you know, we got an update on it. K'Andre Miller has been traded to the Carolina Hurricanes. That is happening, but the return we still haven't had an update on fully. But Elliot Friedman offered a little bit of a point of view, which was the Carolina Hurricanes, once the Gavrikov deal came through especially, were going to offer sheet him anyway. And so what they thought was, okay, well, why don't we just call the Rangers and work out a trade at roughly the amount of money we would have offer sheeted him at. And so it looks like that trade is happening. Now, it's important to know the Carolina Hurricanes have 2 first-round picks this coming year because of the Mikko Rantanen trade.
Right.
So one of those picks, I would imagine they're going to push for the Dallas pick so they can still go back out and maybe offer sheet somebody else or something like that. I don't know. You want to hang on to your own pick.
Well, because Byram is rumored to be
Available and-
vulnerable.
Yes.
And the New York Rangers in the JT Miller deal decided to give up next year's first round pick and select this year. They had that option at the draft and they picked this year. So next year they don't have a first round pick.
Well, so the Rangers, Adam's like, oh, I think they'll bounce back. No, they have to. You need to. You don't have a first.
Yes, that's why it was so confusing when they decided to not. Why they decided to keep it for this year and not give it up next year, because you're betting we're going to be good no matter what. We better be good because
Islanders,
we have no control over that first round pick.
Islanders did not finish last or even really close to it, and they picked first.
Yeah.
The Dallas Mavericks, I know it's another sport, they have no business picking first.
Yes.
And they won the lottery and picked first. You can't give up Gavin McKenna. It'd be one of the worst moves in the entire original six history of the New York Rangers.
It would be insane if this team is as bad as they were last season. They get the number 1 overall pick and they don't have it anymore.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Now,
so like, I know Carolina has those lovely futures to give up. Those futures don't make you better this season.
Well,
Unless you flip them.
unless you flip them.
So, the Rangers. Why is it always you? You're so noisy. You're messy.
They're a bit messy, but
messy.
they are. You want to talk about a DNA change? That's a DNA change.
Oh my God, yeah.
And they are serious about this now.
They have virtually no players left from their 2022 run.
except for Panarin and Zibanejad, right?
It's pretty much it.
Trocheck,
Maybe
Trocheck was on that? Or is
Lafreniere.
he- yeah, and he could be traded too. Like his name has.
It's
popped
crazy.
up.
This is crazy.
So, also keeping with the Carolina Hurricanes, they extended Logan Stankoven for 8 years today.
I love that deal.
$6 million. This is a guy who is going to make the same as Connor Garland and projects to be somewhat of a similar player. Smallish guy, maybe half a point a game player. But when we talk about Logan Stankoven, I forget who put it out there on Twitter today, but I thought it was a really, really good way to look at it. There are guys who are small, and then there are guys who are short. The guys who are small get pushed around. The guys who are short do not. So like a Theoren Fleury at his best was a short guy, but he wasn't small.
Marty St. Louis.
Marty St. Louis, great call. Yeah. Logan Stankoven, I think, guys, is the short variety, not the small one.
I mean, he's a firecracker. He's a friggin' honey badger. He's a good player. Jesse did bring me down to earth a little bit earlier because in my head, he's a guy who's already scored 20 and 30 goals in a season. And you're like, his career high is 14.
Yeah.
And he's really young and the potential's there. And I have zero doubt he's going to accomplish those things. He hasn't.
Yeah, he just hasn't been around long enough. He hasn't done a lot in this league.
And he was deep down in the Dallas depths, and it's difficult to find. It's difficult to get your ice time in Dallas and get your opportunities and get your power play cookies and stuff like that. I think he's going to get all of that in Carolina. He's going to be way, way, way more than worth that deal.
Yep. I think it's a good bet. Like it can turn out to be like one of the best deals in the league if he continues on the projector like the
trajectory.
It's
been a long day.
Trajectory.
Trajectory. I think that's
Protractor.
Let's try it. That he's on. Like if he's making this little money, like it can be a great deal.
So with Keandre Miller fitting into that lineup, Steve or Jesse, can we throw up the Puckpedia lines here? Because I obviously he's not included on the Puckpedia thing yet. Where do you see him fitting in here? Because you got Slavin, Gostisbehere, Nikishin, and Nikishin's people. Remember they made a huge stink when he came over and they didn't register the contract, right?
Maybe he's part of the return.
Yeah,
because they have already 3 defensemen on the left side. Unless you're swapping one, maybe one of those, or I guess it'd be Gostisbehere can play the right too, but he's a left shot. So Keandre Miller needs to fit in somewhere there.
Mm-hmm. And there's no word yet on Brent Burns, and I wonder if he comes back because obviously Jalen Chatfield's up there, but Brent Burns and Jake Slavin were playing together a lot.
Yeah, like Morrow, I guess doesn't have to be in the lineup.
Well, he certainly didn't have to be during the playoffs.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're just sort of pissing into the wind here. Like
we don't know.
Like it's such a swing. Like Keandre Miller's, that's a serious player, man.
Yep.
So we got to know what's going on.
Career high 43 points 2 years ago, and
as a defenseman,
27 this past year. Yep. So, but again, who had a good year in New York last year? It certainly wasn't anybody on the Rangers.
Right.
Now,
I have to correct myself on the Rangers draft pick. Puckpedia isn't updated till for this year's draft picks. I thought this was next year's, but it's still 25s. So they did select to give it up this past draft, and
right,
they
that's what I
are
thought.
keeping
Okay,
next
okay.
year's. Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay,
I
well,
thought,
then you're
like,
good.
I thought like the 25 was this upcoming draft, but it is this.
Well, maybe they want to make up for
this
it with
one
having
that
two.
already passed. So my bad. My bad.
So they probably had the same thought process I did.
Yeah. That's because I was like, that's the thinking, right? But
Because their pick was whatever it was. I can't remember, 11th or something like that.
12, I think. Yeah.
Okay, well, next year it could be.
We could stink. Yeah.
There's no guarantee they bounce.
And that pick went to Philly or something like that eventually. Because
Pittsburgh.
Because Pittsburgh got it and then Pittsburgh flipped it
Oh,
again.
for God's sakes, Kyle!
Yeah, because that's when Kyle traded down. So
Yeah.
Philly ended up with that.
Which time did
Rangers
Kyle
pick.
trade down?
Kyle!
That's the question. All right. Let's talk a little bit about staying in the New York, New Jersey area since we talked about the Islanders and Rangers. Let's go to New Jersey. Jake Allen. This was the surprise of the day, at least for me.
It was one of them. I mean, it was a weird one.
5 years, $1.8 million. There's no question in my mind that if Dan Vladar is making $3.35 million a year, Jake Allen could have got 5. And he elects to go, you know what? I'd rather just play 30 games a year and hang out in New Jersey till I'm 40. And I don't know if I can blame him on that because you can make a significant dollar amount doing $2 million a year in real world is not that bad.
All right. I'm Craigslist. Okay, I'm Craigslist.
You're Craigslist.
And you're looking for a job.
Yeah.
And you see a posting. $1.8 million per year. Qualifications include wearing a baseball hat and sitting down.
I like that.
Do you apply for this job?
That's a pretty sweet gig.
No, because you probably don't show up to the interview because you think someone's going to take one of your organs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Well, I'm here to tell you it's a real job, and he's going to be doing it for the New Jersey Devils for the next half decade.
Yes.
Good for him. Way to live the dream. Go on, King. Give us nothing.
And he might be Jake Markstrom insurance in case Jake Markstrom, for whatever reason, walks next year at
It's
free
definitely
agency, which
possible.
he could.
Oh.
I don't think he would. But
Oh, don't tell the Boston Bruins that you shouldn't be completely caught with your pants down and trade your very capable backup goalie when you're negotiating a big contract with your starter. Right?
Yep.
Silly geese. Silly, for an organization who could do nothing wrong for so long, that was just such an obvious and egregious misstep,
Yeah.
and they paid for it for months.
And they've paid for it ever since.
yes, that's months.
It's James Myrtle, the only UFA goalies right now without a contract are Georgiev, Samsonov, and Reimer.
Well, Reimer's
Thin market.
our age, so that's tough for him. He didn't have the worst season
No.
last year. Reimer and I were born 2 days apart. Samsonov didn't have the worst season last year. He had a really good start that petered off pretty bad. And Georgiev, there's a lot of potential there.
I think that.
Right, Drew?
I think that.
This guy knows.
I think that.
Borgiev.
I think
I don't
that
think
era is
Georgiev
over.
should be in the NHL. So
That's
Matt Murray's better goalie.
whoa.
And that's somebody who hasn't played hockey.
What happened, man?
The Pittsburgh Penguins have recommitted to Tristan Jarry because he's the only goaltender now left on their roster. They have traded Alex Nedeljkovic to the San Jose Sharks.
What? This just happened?
Yeah, for a third-round pick next year. Pittsburgh now has 28 draft picks over the next 3 NHL drafts, including 16 in the first 3 rounds. That's according to the Penguins press release. And basically, that'll be Nedeljkovic, Askarov, I would think, for San Jose. But for Pittsburgh, I guess if you want to get Gavin McKenna, Tristan Jarry's got to be your starter. I also don't think you're getting out of that contract. $5.35 million for Tristan Jarry. Nedeljkovic, obviously, a lot less. Weirdly enough, Kyle Dubas also gave, because he loves guys, Tristan Jarry a 12-team no-trade list.
Pittsburgh now has 28 draft picks over the next 3 drafts, including 16 in the first 3. I know you just said it.
Yeah.
I didn't process it.
Okay, all right.
16
We're
picks in the
processing.
first 3 rounds. What the dude? I mean, that's a lot. Also,
I feel like this smells like a Sammy to Pittsburgh situation, don't you?
Drew just said Joseph Wall. Tell you what,
Why
Aiden
Joseph
can do
Wall?
the rest of the stream. Get out of my office! Don't you put that evil.
We are not trading a
you're right.
goalie.
You're right.
We're not trading a goalie.
Please.
Ryan McLeod has signed a 4-year extension with the Sabres, carrying a $5 million AAV just now.
How much?
Ryan McLeod will make $5 million a year
Oh, my
for the
goodness.
Buffalo Sabres. That is significant.
Whoa.
So
He's
since we're in
on the list
Since
of-
we're in the state of New York and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and all that, like, we're going to stay in the Northeast.
He's on the list of guys who actually had a good season despite being on a bad team.
Yep.
He went to the Connor Geeky school of being good on a bad team. He had, in 79 games, 20 goals, 33 assists, 53 points. That is perfectly good. That is A-okay. They made the right bet with him, actually. Like, they traded Savoy, who was their 9th overall pick, straight up for him. He's 25 now. He'll be 26 in September. And when they made that move, I was like, it's just a Sabrin. And it's actually worked out pretty well so far. So Savoy, like, how many games has he played for the Oilers? Has he played any?
I don't know.
That's worked out. And he earned the money. Good for him.
I want to go back to New Jersey for just a second here very quickly. Connor Brown, 4 years, $12 million, not $12 million per year, $3 million per year.
Had to hit the floor.
And Evgeny Dadonov just signed with the New Jersey Devils, $1 million base and $1 million in bonuses. You know, Sheldon Keefe loves to run 4 lines who can score. So, you know, Dadonov was playing 3rd and 4th line minutes and still scoring for the Dallas Stars. You know, if depth scoring is what you're going to be, New Jersey's a pretty good place with a freewheeling sort of game for a guy like Dadonov.
Oh, absolutely. They were sorely missing offense when Jack Hughes went down. And I mean, you talk about one guy really tying the room together. But one thing I've said about the Devils is they've been too soft. Mm-hmm. They made some moves to improve their D-core in that regard, and then all those guys got hurt in the playoffs. You know who isn't exactly like bang and crash Tanner Jeannot, like tough guy, but he is the opposite of soft. Connor Brown, that guy's a dog. I love him. He can play on my team any day, and he has played on Sheldon Keefe's team before.
Yeah.
They were together with the Toronto Marlies. I don't remember if Keefe was his coach with the Leafs. I think Brown might have already been gone.
Yeah.
But no, Connor Brown cut his professional hockey chops with Sheldon Keefe as his head coach.
Rangers have agreed to terms with Will Cooley. He'll make $3.9 million a year over 2 years.
Okay.
That's a bridge.
Yeah, bridging him's the wrong move. I think Drew goes,
They must not have a lot of cap space left after that.
I can't imagine.
that's the only real justification I can think of.
Yeah, they have $5.3 million left without the Cooley deal. And what did you say it was? 3?
2 years.
No, the money.
Oh, 3.9.
3.9.
The problem is we still have no idea what the hell's going on with Miller. So it's impossible to evaluate, right?
Well, that money's not on the books, right?
Yeah.
Because he needs a new deal.
No, I know, but maybe money is coming back.
Right, so that makes it even worse.
I think they'll do
Yes.
picks. I think they'll do picks.
Oh,
on the way
right.
back.
Yeah.
And we talked about that
been a long
Carolina
day, bro.
first.
Okay.
So I think it'll be I think it'll be draft.
Yeah, I think it'll be because they don't have the room to take on
Yeah.
bodies.
Oh, boy.
It's tight in New York.
I
Smart
don't
of
know what's
Carolina
going
to be
on.
like, you know what? We'll offer shoot you because we know you can't match.
Exactly. So that offer sheet thing makes so much more sense now.
Remember with the Leafs Vegas Marner thing, we were talking about, hey, that's blackmail, and you're like, no, that's leverage, and I said that's blackmail. What Carolina has over New York, that's leverage. Okay, we could just offer sheet them, but let's play nice. Let's do a deal here. Like, to me, that's much better.
Oh, Puckpedia has added Cooley there at 3.9.
Okay.
So that's what their line.
Shout out Puckpedia, by
That
the
was
way.
quick.
They've
What
had a great
a
day.
day.
Yeah.
What a bunch of just animals
Yeah.
working back there. Man, all of a sudden, that's a very young team. They got
It
some
is.
old parts, but really, really young.
In the last, if you look at the Rangers lineup from last July 1st to today, it's a complete overhaul of everything.
Their whole right side is, except for Brodzinski, is 23 or under. Up the middle, they're a little older. On the left side, you got 3 guys who are 24 and under. You got a couple young guys in your D-core as well.
And like you'll lose Miller and have somebody else play that.
Listen, if you're going to be not all that great, you better be young.
I think they are going to be pretty good.
I think they'll be in the hunt.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be in the
They'll be
playoffs.
in the hunt.
Okay, moving on to the Bruins. Arvidsson to the Bruins for a 5th-round pick from the Edmonton Oilers. No money retained in that. That's $4 million for 1 more year. Bruins get older, but it's a pretty cheap way to upgrade your team if Arvidsson returns to form. Also adding to that, Tanner Jeannot, a 5-year,
Man.
$3.4 million per year deal. Tanner Jeannot has 27 points in his last 122 games.
His 24-goal rookie season, he has not gotten that many goals combined since.
Right. And so what's wild is that, Tanner Jeannot feels like a Bruin. He does.
Oh, yeah,
I
sure.
think there was a bidding war here.
Oh, definitely.
I think there were a lot of teams that wanted him at
I think the
maybe
Leafs were in on it.
$2.5 to $3 million range over 3 years. The Bruins were like, hey, we got money and we're desperate and you should be a Bruin.
Listen, just because I don't think that contract is awesome doesn't mean I don't. I think the Bruins are a better team than they were yesterday.
Yep.
I do. Arvidsson was a luxury the Oilers couldn't afford. Bruins can afford him. I don't think he forgot how to play hockey. I think he'll be okay.
Yep.
Tanner Jeannot, at very least, will be a bastard. I don't think he's. Maybe he sniffs 20 goals again. He's got a. There's no reason to think that's coming around the corner. Based on I think.
But you've lost Brazeau and you've lost Trent Frederick and you've lost. So you need to have.
You had already lost them.
I know, but you got to re-add some. Right?
No, I know, but I'm saying they're not getting killed in free agency, right? And this is going to exhaust my friends to my left and right. I think Alex Steeves plays games for them, and I think he scores some goals for them. I really like that player. He was a really good Marley.
Yeah, what's some? It's like
some?
5?
It depends how many games he plays, right? I don't think he's going to be an everyday
How many goals
player.
does he score, Steve?
12.
12 goals? So you think he plays a full 82? Or is that 12 spread over 5 years?
12 in 20 games. Post-deadline.
Post-deadline when they're out of it. The Bruins
exclusively third
The
goal.
Bruins are just, it feels like they are a collection of grafted on guys and David Pastrnak right now.
Yeah.
And they just are so, without Lindholm and McAvoy in the lineup, they were so unrecognizable to the team that we've become used to losing to in Toronto. But with Pastrnak, Lindholm, and McAvoy healthy, there is danger in this lineup, no question.
Oh, yeah. Asamon is a decent signing. Corrali's a decent signing.
Yeah, they're bringing him back.
They're just not huge needle movers.
But you got Tanner Jeannot, and you're like, okay, he's tough and he's big and he's playing the playoffs and all that. But it's been a long time since we've seen that Tanner Jeannot, and even this past playoffs for the Kings, he didn't play. He was out with a groin injury for the last 12 games of the regular season, and he wasn't healthy enough to suit up for any of the games against Edmonton.
And in the Leafs series against Tampa in 2023, he was also battling an injury the whole time.
3 games he got into that series.
So, and he was, I believe, the reason for one of the funniest clips of that series. When Luke Shen was beacon at the Lightning bench, and he very calmly, you can read his lips, goes, oh, whatever, you're irrelevant out here. And he was saying it to Jeannot, and Brandon Hagel goes, he's irrelevant! He's irrelevant! You're saying he's irrelevant! Oh my God!
Yes.
It's so good. He lost his mind.
I remember
I almost
that.
passed out just now
I
screaming
love
out.
Brandon Hagel.
Yeah.
He's irrelevant! You call him irrelevant!
Luke Shen calling somebody irrelevant.
Look,
He lost.
you're calling him irrelevant!
It was good. But
Good. That series was fun, man.
I'm afraid that at this number, the Boston Bruins are paying for a Tanner Jeannot that isn't there.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Okay. This isn't an apples to apples comparison, but 2 years ago, when the Leafs signed Ryan Reeves, we all knew 3 years was insane. We all knew that was insane. But we were like, that's the premium you have to pay for. If you're going to have a tough guy, you might as well have the toughest one. And I think when they signed that, he was. There are other guys where you could argue they're tougher. Olivier, holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
Jack Eye, although
Rampy.
Rampy, although, man, he loses a lot of fights.
Yeah.
Olivier beat the shit, out of both of them, right? So I think it's probably Olivier. But,
Ryan Hartman.
Man, he loses a lot of fights. It's
does.
such a bad thing to say.
he does lose a lot of fights.
he does.
He's willing to go. Bless him.
Yeah.
He's willing to go, but, man, he gets his ass kicked a lot.
Ryan Hartman losing his cool with a screwdriver tucked in his boot, just stabbing people.
Oh, my God. That guy's prime Eddie Guerrero, but, on skates.
Yeah.
He lies, he cheats, he steals. But, Tanner Jeannot,
Overall bad guy.
well, as far as torpedoes go, you could do, I feel like that's a new category of player like we don't talk about enough. They're like enforcer, grinder. No, grinder. That doesn't describe Tanner Jeannot. He's not grinding you along the board. No, he's hitting to kill you.
And I think $3.4 million for 3 seasons
too
is
much for a
too much to
torpedo.
pay for that guy.
But what about
I wanted Tanner Jeannot on the Leafs. I still do at like $1 million.
Yeah, that's what I thought we were looking at.
Yeah,
3 point
For 5
Points?
years.
for like it's 8 goals.
Dude, the guy
2000 and like 3 points. Holy
Yeah.
crap!
He's not that guy, pal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Trust me.
Earlier
Not that guy.
Earlier on in the day, Logan Mailloux was traded from the Montreal Canadiens to the Blues for Zach Boulduc.
there you go.
Boulduc. Not bad for the Canadiens. The guy had 36 points last year for the Blues. Now, Doug Armstrong said they believe Logan Mailloux is ready. It makes sense for both teams. Montreal needs forward help. The Blues need young defensemen. All of their major young or older defensemen are just old. They're all over in their 30s,
Mailloux's,
with the exception of Broberg.
Mailloux hasn't played very many NHL games. He has put up points. I think it was 4 points in 7 games, -5, which is like, so you're just drafting and developing the new Tony DeAngelo.
Right, well, maybe.
Like
Maybe.
at that point. Oh man, he's gonna put up like 60 points. Team's gonna be like down 20.
It's hard for me to look at this trade and not say that. Like the Blues traded 1-for-1, like guys who are the same age, and they traded for the worst prospect.
I like it for the Habs.
You know, like
I do.
I think it's really good for the Habs. They upgraded in an area where they need to upgrade for a place where they had too many young prospects. Like there's no avenue for Mailloux to make the Habs. Like there's no place there for him.
Definitely not.
So let's get rid of this asset we're not using for a guy who's better than the guy we have, who's NHL ready. Like he's playing games now.
The logic is there for both teams. I just see it so much more clearly for Montreal.
The Blues should have gotten something along with Mailloux. I would have liked this more if there was a pick attached to him because they are giving up a better player and it's a 1-for-1 swap.
Who's
So how
a
are you-
proven NHL commodity. I wonder, though,
it's
Jesse, if it
weird.
comes to the fact that Logan Mailloux is a right shot defenseman who's 22 years old, and it's pretty clear that the Blues,
say,
you know,
oh, you want a third? You want nope.
yeah.
Nope. He shoots right. No.
Does Leo shoot right?
Fucking right.
Oh, well done. That's
yeah.
a good father. That's a good daddy.
Worth mentioning, Alex Lyon has signed with the Buffalo Sabres as well, is likely going to be one of their, is going to be one of their
They're
goalies.
Thrandom.
They're Thrandom this year. Also, and we'll get into this later on in the week, but there are going to be some major changes to the Sabres on-air broadcasts as people in upper management at the Sabres believe that the broadcasts locally have been too critical of the Buffalo Sabres.
You're joking.
I'm not. And that's a little sprinkle tease for Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, because I know this is the free agency show, but I just thought you should know.
No, are you talking TV, radio? Like
TV.
who's affected?
TV. I'm not. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh,
It just says there's a reshuffle on the horizon. That's all there is for now. William Eklund, who we met and interviewed in San Jose,
Yes.
has signed an extension with the San Jose Sharks. And up until recently, like a few minutes ago, he was the only move they'd made all day, but they got Nedeljkovic. This is a 3-year, $5.6 AAV contract extension. It does not start until the beginning of next season. So technically, the Sharks now have Eklund under contract for 4 more years. And that's an interesting bridge deal because now they got to start to think about, well, what are we going to pay Celebrini? What are we going to pay Will Smith? What are we going to pay? Well, Michael Meese is a few years in the future. Mm-hmm. It's a good problem to have, but I'll take it from Leaf fans, those contracts sneak up awfully quick.
You know how William Nylander was a Leaf before Matthews and Marner made their NHL debut?
Yeah.
That's what William Eklund reminds me of a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he was a -7 last year. He was -45 the year before.
Wow.
Woo! So for the Sharks, William Eklund has been part of the Sharks rebuild pre-Celebrini. And that was an ugly, ugly season for them.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, even though they finished last, not nearly as ugly, not nearly as painful. And man, he took a jump. He only went from 16 to 17 goals, but he went from 29 to 41 assists, 45 to 58 points. He's a big part of their future, and that contract is downright reasonable.
The thing about like signing Eklund long term is he's gonna have to want to sign that long term, and I don't think they're in a position where they can just hand out a $7 or $8 million deal to Eklund at this point, coming out of his ELC. This actually, to me, makes a lot of sense because with Celebrini and I think Will Smith, you're gonna get those big contracts. So at least for those, 3 years, because the fourth year is the one on the ALC coming up. And I don't think they're going to be that competitive this year. So at least for those 3 years, you have a cost-controlled Eklund where it's not like a whole bunch of money, plus the whole bunch of money to Celebrini on his next contract, plus Will Smith on a whole bunch of money. It's reasonable for this little bit.
You remember the other issue with the Leafs rebuild? A lot of contracts coming up at the same time.
Yes, this delays things. This staggers those contracts.
Yes. Like, generally, I don't love a short-term deal for a player this good and this young, but
Yeah.
You might have to do it in some way.
when
you
it
got
was
bigger fish to fry. I'm sorry.
Matthews and Marner in the same year.
Same year.
No, Matthews and Marner in the same
year,
then
and Nylander the year before.
The year before. And
they
then
signed
the next
Tavares.
deals came up, Matthews and Willie the same year, and then Marner this year.
was
So
horrible.
But who's to say that the Leafs had bad planning? How dare we criticize them?
It was awful.
Also for the Sharks, John Klingberg is signed for $4 million. That's 1 year of John Klingberg for $4 million.
Oh,
I guess it doesn't matter.
Klingberg is spelled the number 2 ND ROUNDPICK.
The Sharks need people to play for them. With Logan Couture's contract not on LTIR, they're still $9 million under the cap floor. If I'm reading everything
That's
correctly.
bonkers, dude. That's bonkers.
Do they have pending RFA still?
They have
Thomas
one,
Bordeleau?
2.
And
I'm not that familiar with Jack Thompson. I don't know what kind of deal he's going to command.
He ain't gonna get him to the floor.
Is he going to command $12 million?
Well, they call him Big
Not
Money
quite.
Jack for...
He scored against the Leafs.
Yes.
Remember that game? And we were like, "Who the hell's Jack Thompson?"
Yes, that's actually very true. Yeah.
He scored against the Leafs in Toronto. You son of a gun!
If you're talking about like the contracts coming up due, they're going to have so much money in the next couple of years.
Man,
they have no defenseman
Timothy
committed.
Liljegren is gonna make a fucking fortune in free agency.
Nobody assigned to be a
Right
Shark.
shot, puck moving defenseman. Who
You know what's going to be crazy when the Sharks healthy him anyway?
Yeah. Oh yeah. But he's going to make a lot. And you know what? It's probably going to be in LA with our good friend Ken Holland, who made some unbelievable
Before you do
signings,
that,
right?
what are
Yeah.
your predictions on how the Sharks get to the floor? We're gonna get $9 million
They're
here.
going to take advantage of.
Show the roster and let's find a David Camp-sized hole.
I think they're going to take advantage of teams like Florida. The Leafs probably would love to move on from David Kampf, and we have always heard Calle Yarncroke ideally as well. Although I wonder who would play that position if they didn't get it.
That's only 4.
Evan Rodriguez is a name that I think is interesting
That's 3.
for Florida.
That's 7.
None of those guys are expensive enough.
Yeah.
And what about and the other name that might float out there for Florida is Carter Verhaeghe. What happens to him? Like Florida can't afford all of these guys.
He has a no move clause.
Okay, so he wouldn't want to.
We've
leave.
been looking for a Philip Grubauer landing spot.
I think this is the team that's going to help Dallas get under the cap, like in order to sign their guys, and they might be like. You think Tyler Seguin waves to go to San Jose?
Whoa.
Sagan?
Now, not that this is an issue.
9.85.
Not that any player ever thinks about this sort of thing because it's not even worth talking about. But they have income tax in California.
Is the majority of his deal paid in bonus? Because then his salary is only...
He has probably made most of his money already.
Yeah, then his salary coming in every 2 weeks is so much less.
Is this Sagan?
But he probably also doesn't, come on, man. We made it
care.
to the third round. I want to hang around.
Yeah.
This sucks.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. If he has trade protection, that's a tough conversation.
He does. It's a no
because-
move.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, then you're screwed.
The Dallas Stars are currently over the salary cap, and he has a full no-move clause.
Yeah, you're boned.
Yeah, that's tough.
You're
So good.
stuck. You're stuck. Good luck.
But maybe some other pieces come off of the Stars to help them out.
Dumba. Still, it's not enough.
It's $9 million. That's why I think it's such a fascinating question, because you got to find $9 million worth of players to put onto the San Jose Sharks.
Who did? Oh, Seattle just got Matt Murray.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make Seattle, you got to give me credit. I'm trying to make Grubauer happen. I'm trying so bad. The dude is just not great. But yeah, the Sharks still have, like, take your team's problem contracts. Take your best friend's favorite team's problem contracts. Trade all of them to San Jose. It's not enough.
San Jose would get a ton of assets.
You know how
Like a
you
ton.
can be a certain percentage above the cap?
10%, is it?
Yeah. Do you need to be a certain percentage close to the floor?
No, weirdly
Like-
enough, they don't do that. Which
So
I
you
think
can just
they
have
should.
no contracts.
Which
Yes.
which I think is weird. You shouldn't. The players should be like, no, you should have to have somebody.
I mean,
In the off season, yeah, you can be as low as you want to go.
They'll figure it
Keandre Miller contract looks like it's going to be 8 years, $60 million, which is about $7.5 million a season. Not bad for a young defenseman. By the way, listen, this is the same day, and we'll get to it in a second. Cody Ceci just signed for 4.5. So Keandre Miller at 7. I'm like, I don't
It
hate
is
that.
still less than Provorov by $1 million.
Whoa.
you're just taking Orlov's money that you were paying him last year and you're giving it to Keandre Miller, which I think is fine and dandy.
Mm-hmm.
I
That's
think
a
that's
good
a good
upgrade.
upgrade. Yeah. There's a lot of people still wondering where Orlov's going to go. And
So wait a sec, though. So Miller must have signed that deal with the Rangers.
it's a sign and trade, yes.
There you go.
So we still don't know the components.
We do not know the components.
Why
of
is
the
this-
trade.
Eric! I'm texting him.
All right, good.
Polsky.
You text him. Now, let's move on to the Los Angeles Kings, who brought in Corey Perry.
Also, Keandre Miller wasn't a free agent, so
Yeah.
he could trade to Carolina and still sign it there.
Yes.
Yeah, so it didn't have to be signed with the Rangers,
Yeah.
is what I'm saying.
But it is a sign and trade.
Sure, yes, but
That's
it
how it's
didn't
being
have to
reported.
be.
Corey Perry is a Los Angeles King. 1 year, $3.5 million in bonuses, and a $1 million. I believe he's got a $1 million base, I think. Yoel Armia staying in LA 2 more years, $2.5 million per. Cody Ceci, baby, 4 years, $4.5 million. Ken Holland loves his guys. And Brian Dumoulin from the Pittsburgh Penguins, 3 years, $4 million. The Kings also signed
do like that
goalie, Anton Forsberg, 2 years, $2.25 million per.
That one's fine.
So with all of these moves, and it's interesting, Ken Holland was asked, do you think LA's not a desirable destination anymore? That's a question that I never thought I would hear in my life.
When was he asked that?
Well, it's a tax thing. California's taxes are high. It's
He was
a
asked
beautiful
it
place to live.
today?
He was asked that today at his media avail. And he
Okay.
says, well, that's crap.
I don't love all those signings. He made 5 of them.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. So let's go through them. Corey Perry, 40 years old, could make upwards of $3.5 million.
Corey Perry could have gone anywhere in the league.
Yeah.
Anyone would have picked him
And there's
up.
a lot of good players on this team, by the way. Like they keep getting bounced by Edmonton, but it's not like they're bad. It's a good team.
No.
Kuzmenko, by the way, signed last night too, so I think that's worth mentioning.
$4.3 million is perfectly reasonable for what he did as a King.
What about Cody Ceci? $4.5 million.
That one I hate. That one
Yep.
sucks. And I don't.
4 years, too, till Cody Ceci's 35.
Wait, he's currently 35?
No, till he's 35,
Oh.
he's signed till. Like, are we expecting that Cody Ceci's gonna age gracefully into this contract?
Like, no. like Ken Holland.
Like what?
Ken Holland. Generally, I don't really hate most of what he did. The CC one that's an abomination. It's terrible. But we said at the very beginning of the day, best thing you can do is trade. Second best thing you can do is sign your own guys. Spending money in free agency, which no one did more aggressively than LA, is just, it's not the way to go. Yes,
Sorry,
Drew.
Drew.
Drew Mike.
Did he have to give all these no trade clause actions to these guys? Like, what does Cody Ceci do to deserve any?
10 team.
Modified, no trade.
10 team, no trade for Cody Ceci.
10
Find
teams
10
not
teams
so
that'll
bad.
take that contract.
Dude, Kemper's got one. Edmondson has one. Dumoulin has one. Ceci has one. Doughty has one. Here, scroll up.
There you go.
Oh, and screw the forwards. Oh, no, never mind. I was looking at the wrong spot. Fogel has one. Kempe has one. Deneau has one. Kopitar has one. Fiala has one. Holy shit.
The Corey
And who?
Perry, what's that?
Byfield too.
Oh,
yeah,
it just
buy
kicks in
too.
later?
Yeah. The Corey Perry contract, it is that $2 million is there. It's against $2 million against the cap. It's a signing bonus is $1 million. He's making $1 million this year, so $2 million AAV. And then he has $1.5 million in a games played bonus, and then $500K in playoff bonuses. So it could be worth up to $4 million for him and on the cap. but
Warren Fogel's got to be thinking, man, I just got away from this guy. Like,
Now, you got to think, like, you know how it was old guy spring, right? These playoffs are just going to be full of, by athletic standards, a bunch of geriatrics playing every game for literally hundreds of thousands of dollars. Can you imagine a playoff game between Corey Perry and Jonathan Taves? They might kill each other.
the Patrick Kane deal is fascinating because he makes like no money, and then every step along the way in the season, he's making more money. There's like a 10-game bonus, there's a 20-game, then there's a 50, and then he has like a round 1 bonus and then a round 2 bonus.
Yeah.
He can make up to $7 million just through all of these bonuses.
He's like, if he gets money for winning a round, he's going to take like a minute 20 shift and then stand on the bench the whole time.
Yeah.
Let me back out there.
This is
I got
actually
$250,000.
Like, you ever want to motivate a player? Get performance bonuses.
Hell
in there.
yeah. Hell yeah. It shouldn't just be old dudes.
Yeah. They should have a Corey Perry bonus where, like, hey, if you make the Stanley Cup final and you win it, like, there's the ultimate bonus. Like, or if you get
million
there
bucks.
and you sit out for the team and we don't play you because you're cursed, then you get $8 million or something.
The Corey Perry clause.
You get scratched for the Stanley Cup final and you get a bonus.
The thank you for your service clause.
Now
where
we don't
get,
want you.
Get us through 3 rounds and then go away.
yeah. That should be the bonus.
hilarious.
let's talk a little bit about Kyle Dubas. Quickly go back to him because there's some news. Steve, what do we know about Kyle?
Kyle Dubas loves his guys.
So who did he sign?
Oh,
Depth piece, 2-year deal.
Depth piece, 2-year deal. Marley?
Oh yeah, was a Marley.
Depth piece.
Doesn't necessarily mean he was a Marley last year though.
Okay. Depth piece, 2-year deal. Gold.
You were upset that they walked away from this guy. It bit them a little bit.
Marley? They walked away from him, bit him a little bit. I was upset they walked away from this guy. Who we got, Adam?
You ready?
I'm ready.
Justin Brazeau.
Son of a fucker!
2 years, $1.5 million per for Justin Brazeau. He's 27 years old.
I hope
Yeah.
your pillow is made of Legos.
We had it on the screen earlier. He also did the Connor Dewar deal.
Oh yeah,
That's okay.
Where he,
That's all
but like he loves his guys.
He loves this guy. He already had Connor Dewar. That's fine. Justin Brazeau, after signing him, developing him, letting him walk to a divisional rival, and that divisional rival ends up assisting on the game-tying goal in Game 7 the year after you're fired. And now he's a Pittsburgh Penguin. Please never know peace. I hate you so much. Oh my God. 2 years, $1.5 million per. You know what? Okay, you got my funny haha reaction about Kyle Dubas, and I'm going to explode. Great for Justin Brazeau.
Oh, it's excellent.
This is a guy who was such a long shot to make the NHL. Scored 60 goals out of like kind of nowhere.
Yep.
In the OHL. And is 6'6", 240, something stupid like that. And everyone in hockey said the same thing. I mean, we got to take a look. We got to try. The guy just had a 60-goal season. I know as an overager, but he would automatically be one of the tallest players in the league, one of the heaviest players in the league, and he just scored 60 goals. We got to try.
Yep.
And one of the things that I think screwed it up, I think Justin Brazeau would be a Leaf right now if COVID never happened.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But that ruined everything. The Dubas had this great grand plan for, I'm going to use the ECHL for development. Do you remember what the Leafs ECHL affiliate did during COVID?
Nothing.
Did not play games.
And then went bankrupt.
And then went bankrupt and left. And then, of course, he joins a divisional rival, son of a bitch. But now he joins Kyle, and that is delightful. He drafted 2 Sioux Greyhounds, by the way.
Of course he did.
This year.
Of course he did.
Kyle Dubas loves his guys. Yes, Drusif.
So Pittsburgh only has 6 forwards under contract next season. How do you feel about that?
They'll figure it out. Callie Yarncroke, come on down.
Dubas is trying to, and no Penguins fan wants to hear this, but this is what's happening. Dubas is... You ever host a party and people don't realize it's time to go home?
Okay.
What?
Where are you going? Where are you going with this?
What?
Where are you going with
You
this?
ever have a party where Jesse feeds your elderly shelter dog sweet chili heat Doritos?
I slept over that night. There was no reason for me to go
yeah,
home,
you're
I'm
right.
pretty sure.
Okay,
Steve,
but what's going
Are
on here?
you speaking ill of Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia's Sidney Crosby?
It's time to go home, Sid.
How dare you?
Go home where?
to go home.
Mooseheads?
This is his home.
Sid, the lights are on.
Pittsburgh is
Sid,
his
the
home.
music's off. Sid, I put the snacks away. Sid, I'm going to bed. Sid. Closing time.
I know you guys love this conversation, but I've actually done a complete 180 on the Sid conversation. I think he should remain a Penguin and retire a Penguin. I think that's what he's going to do, and I think that's what's right for him.
Keep going.
And I know you guys want him to go somewhere else for all the lulls and the content and all that fun stuff, but I think he wants to be a Penguin forever and retire in 27 as a Penguin.
Here we go. Josh Yohe from the end of his article, and I'm going to bring this up on Thursday as well, about Sidney Crosby and about the trade talk. And this has to do directly with the George LaRocque thing.
No.
The best stories deal with some pain before there is glory. Most of Crosby's career has been a parade of glory, but the pain of the last few years has been real. And the storm is probably going to get worse before the possibility of that wonderful ending presents itself. What some in the hockey world sadly don't understand, to Crosby, this kind of story is so much more appealing than the idea of playing elsewhere. Maybe it doesn't seem appealing to you or me, but to him it is. He's a little different than the rest of us, and it's a good thing for the Penguins. His pride in the organization and the city is so deep that I suspect he will stick around long enough to ensure everything is back on track with the Penguins. It's going to take a while.
Yeah.
No, Adam, you missed a paragraph.
What's the paragraph?
I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home.
I agree.
Get Sid, it's done.
I agree with Josh Yohe.
You do?
Yeah.
Take me.
Why
Boo.
do you guys disagree?
I
Adam,
don't.
this is something you're passionate about.
Because
Jesse.
it's better for the league if Sidney Crosby's in the friggin'
It's
playoffs.
not about what's better for the league. It's about what's better for Sid.
I think it hurts his legacy, and I lose respect for Sidney Crosby if he doesn't leave Pittsburgh.
If he doesn't leave
I love
Pittsburgh.
how Jesse's dealing with two completely opposite ends of the spectrum. I'm like, he should leave to try to win again.
Yeah.
You're like, he's a loser if he goes.
No,
Talking about
he's a loser if he doesn't
Oh,
go.
if he
doesn't
doesn't
Yeah,
go.
if you just accept losing, who are you? You're supposed to be Sid the kid.
You're supposed to want to win, man. That's supposed to bother
he
you.
thinks he could win in Pittsburgh.
No, he knows he can't.
And it doesn't matter if he's not winning. He's going to try with this franchise his whole might and his whole career to win.
Can someone right now here, Jesse, put the Puckpedia page back up. I just need someone to...
Someone just said rare Drew W, and then someone else said Drew, you're friggin' nuts, and I love it.
Can someone just put Will Smith in the last episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air next to Sidney Crosby at the 26-27 season? I know who
One more year, $6.1 million for Evgeny Malkin. They've already said
they're going to get so
that
much for Brian Rust.
they're going to talk. Dubas already said that they're going to have a chat with Evgeny Malkin like this summer and then mid-season and go, what do you want to do? He's still playing at a high level.
What
Also,
did
are
I
we,
say?
Are we ignoring the fact that Drew's only saying what he's saying because he wants Crosby on the Avs?
I don't know if the Avs have the pieces anymore.
They'll find it.
Yeah. For Crosby, they'd trade everybody.
They'll find it.
But
Yeah.
that's not an option. Sid doesn't want to go. He's not going to go. It's better for his legacy to stay. Who cares if the team stinks?
When it was rumored Dubas would potentially be up for the Penguins job, I remember sitting in this very chair and going, I don't know if there's a worse job you could take. just in terms of, I'm not talking about the city of Pittsburgh. I'm not talking about the Penguins organization.
No, they were a mess.
You're not very good.
Yeah.
You're probably going to get worse. You don't have a ton of reason to expect this is going to get better anytime soon, really. And it will be, you thought not getting it done in Toronto didn't look so good on your legacy.
Mm-hmm.
One day, you will have to be the man who trades Sidney Crosby.
No, he doesn't have to be that.
Or
You'll be the man that just made sure he didn't make it the rest of his career.
you'll be the man who put him in a nursing home.
And I'll be honest with you, Dubas accelerated that process by the contracts he signed. Graves, Jari, Achari has not
Riley
worked
Smith.
out well. Like it's not that Kyle didn't have room to make changes. He just signed some of the worst contracts we've seen in the last 3 or 4 years. Like Graves, how many games before he got a point last year? It was like 50. Dude, this is the thing. And I said this too. Shanny catches zero shit in Toronto compared to what Kyle Dubas catches. But who was in charge? Shanny. Now Dubas is in Shanny's spot. And what does he do? Make himself GM.
Yeah.
So he's going to catch all the shit. You need to have a patsy, Kyle.
I will never forgive Kyle for not hiring Eric Tulsky to be his GM.
100%.
Speaking of Eric Tulsky, I have breaking news.
Did he respond to you?
I texted Eric Tulsky, "Hey, yo, AYYYO, all caps, question mark." That was at 5:36 p.m. He responded at 5:38 p.m., LOL. That was it.
Well, at least he's on. Maybe, send him
Can you finish this trade? We're streaming.
It's done. It's done. The Condre Miller one's done.
What's the return?
Yeah, they had it. I just got the notification. Hold on.
kidding.
Hold on.
I haven't seen the return.
I got the notification. Let me pull it up. And it had
Is
all
this
the
trade
details.
done or what? We're live streaming right now.
Okay, that's good.
send him
That's
send him the link to the stream.
Okay.
Have him
Yeah,
watch.
send him the link.
Ask him if he wants to come on.
Oh.
Why not?
You know what?
Ask him.
All
You're
right,
like,
all
"Hey, man,
right,
you
all
wanna-"
right, all right.
Yeah, we could bring on. I'd love to have him on. I want to talk to him.
Okay. Let me see.
Does Tulsky give us an exclusive?
I highly doubt it. But
Oh yeah, no, you guys are right. The notification I got also didn't have the details.
Yeah,
of it.
still not there.
No, you guys are right.
Still not there.
Yeah.
But I do think we'll hang on long enough to see if Eric Tulsky responds to Steve
we're all waiting. It's very hot in here.
and say, "Come on the show."
Come on the show and announce it.
Please, sir. Add a please, sir.
Please, sir.
Please, sir.
They are encouraging me to call you a coward, but I would never do such a thing.
Yo,
I sent it.
I see that. Yeah, I see it.
he actually sent it. That's incredible. Oh my god.
Does he have read receipts on?
I hope so. I don't know. That's a good question.
Scroll up.
Scroll.
Does it say red?
I don't think he does.
No.
Oh, that's funny,
He's so good at this.
man.
I texted him Friday.
All the time.
I texted him Friday, January 24th. I don't remember what he did. Oh, it was probably the Rantanen trade. I said,
Oh, Drew, go ahead.
Yeah, can you tell him he's the worst for
I know.
dealing with Rantanen, and I hate him.
For the Rantanen trade, I said, LOL, holy fuck. And the next day he replied, fair enough.
That's good. I like that. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Philadelphia, who, instead of paying Morgan Frost, allowed their head coach to go, "Hey, I don't like Frost and Farabee," and then they said, "Well, why don't we get rid of them?" And he was like, "Cool." And then he's like, "Hey, by the way, did you know that I publicly can't do this anymore?" And then they fired him. So what do they have to do? Replace some of those guys. And today they signed Christian Dvorak to a 1-year. And even Elliot Friedman had to delete his tweet. He wrote $4.5 million contract. Actually, no, it's $5.4 million contract. And Dan Vladar got a 2-year, $3.3 million contract. That's roughly $9 million for Christian Dvorak and Dan Vladar. It just shows how crazy free agency was. Crazy thin crop of people. And frankly, this still does make the Philadelphia Flyers better because that's how bad they are. We had a look at Sam Ersson and Ivan Fedotov. Their save percentages last year, Sam Ersson was .883. Ivan Fedotov was .880. And so Dan Vladar will be a huge improvement at .898. And what we've sort of thought is if the Philadelphia Flyers do their job, by next year, Dan Vladar is your backup goalie. You get out from under that Fedotov deal, you get out from the Arison deal, and you can move on. But the Philadelphia Flyers are allergic to having steady goaltending, and that goes back 20 years. And I just, at a certain point, they're going to have to start to show some returns. They've got some great young players. They got a coach they're pumped about. You got to give them some weapons. I don't know that 30-point... People are mad about Toronto, just for instance. People are mad about Scott Laughton. Oh, they traded a first-round pick for him. I saw it today. If you think that trade is okay, then you're full of cope or something like that. I'm like, that guy's a 30, 35-point guy.
At 1.5?
Yeah.
With
the
insane... If
at
Scott
one and a half
Laughton-
million-
Read me the worst of Leafs Twitter.
No,
or
I'm
whatever
reading him
that
to
is.
you.
If Scott Laughton was
I don't need that in my life.
Scott Laughton's a free agent today, he makes at least $5 million.
Scott, yeah, and I look at, hey, Justin
What do you
Brousseau,
mean, what? You didn't see what other guys got?
Scott Laughton.
Drew, what do you think about Laughton?
Scott Laughton sucks.
Christian Dvorak.
Better than Laughton.
No, not.
100%. 100%
Not
better.
even in the... No way Scott Laughton is way more valuable.
He's a
than
fourth-line center, guys.
He's actually going to be a third-line center.
On a decent team.
Okay, all right.
On
all
a
right.
Third line. How? Roy's the third-line center.
Yeah, I guess.
That's cope, Adam. Adam, stop coping. Why
Laughton-
coping so hard, Adam?
I think Scott
Laughton's
Laughton's going to
baby
surprise
leader
a lot
is
of people.
not
And
gonna
I was the one
Coke
saying
baby
they
Adam.
shouldn't make that trade. I was the one saying that.
Eric, answer your text, Eric. We're going off the rails, man.
But I will take Scott Laughton at $1.5 million over Justin Brazeau at $1.5 million, over Christian Dvorak at 5.4. I know Philly's got to pay a bit of a tax because they suck, but dude, that's rough. And I'm hoping for the Flyers that with all the new young players they have coming in, that there's a maturing factor. I also think Rick Tocchet is so much better cut out for a young developing team. Tortorella was brought in there to bring the veterans under control. When it became clear that the veterans just straight up didn't have it, they traded them all and they kept the Tortorella. Are you still texting?
No, I'm texting Alan now. Alan, we're streaming right now. Break a signing, bro.
Adam, I think you're making a good point.
Yeah, thank you. Did you hear it?
Yeah, pretty
Steve
boring.
was busy texting.
Yeah, I know.
so
He was
can't
too busy
contribute.
texting his, my industry contacts. I'm Steve Dangle.
If this pays off, you
I'm
can kiss my
Steve
ass.
Dangle. If we get the worldwide exclusive with Eric Tulsky, I will
When
retract all of that.
Adam, I think actually what you're saying is important to the conversation because when you look at the Scott Laughton deal, $1.5 million, you're comparing it to all of the deals that are handed out today. Yeah, I'll take them 1.5. It's crazy because that contract Laughton's making now is a $3 million contract in free agency this year, based on what we're
Well, he
getting
already
right now.
makes $3 million.
Right, and the Leafs are paying half.
Yes.
that. Yeah. So like the Dvorak 5.4, Philly, I actually don't mind the contract. In a vacuum, I keep saying in a vacuum, looking at all these players, but I think like there's a way to evaluate these deals, and that's when you take the player itself and you say, is he worth that money? You can say no with Christian Dvorak, but on the Philadelphia Flyers, who are not going to be a cap team, who cares if you overpaid him by $1 million or $2 million? You have that room, you might as well spend to it. Plus, it's a 1-year deal. You can move that at the deadline if you retain. You're only retaining for the next 2 months or whatever the regular season plays out to. I don't mind this deal for Philly. You need players to play for your team.
I'm just looking
That's
at that
my thoughts
lineup.
on the Dvorak
I'm just
deal.
looking at that lineup. You know what they could use?
Everything.
Scott Laughton.
Yeah, they could. I love Konechny,
Hell yeah.
though. You can't get me to not
I
love
love
that
Laughton
player.
more.
The
Dvorak
goalie-
is not going to be the fourth line center, I'm sure.
No, that's
Is
just what-
Zegras going to be a center
what they
next year?
plugged in. He might play left wing.
Because I think that was part of the issue in Anaheim is he wanted to play center, and they're like, no, you can't.
If they had Laughton, he'd be on the wing. But they didn't.
the goalie conversation is a different conversation because I think they were left at the dance with no one to dance.
Yeah, I think they were probably going to throw a lot of money at Jake Allen,
And
right?
they had to go with Dan Vladar. I think that was their guy. And Jake Allen's like, I don't want $10 extra million. I'm going to stay in New Jersey. And Philly's like, what? And we have to go get Dan Vladar. And so having Urson and Vladar and Fedotov isn't the greatest goalie trio in the world, but like Urson can still mature into something. And you're just kind of fingers crossed.
Every team that rolls into Philadelphia next year is going to be like Harlem Globetrotters, unless you can get, like, is Ristolainen coming back and healthy? I think, you know what? I hate to say it, but Rasmus Ristolainen's contract looks pretty attractive right now for a right shot defenseman, $5.1 million.
I mean, he looks pretty attractive for a team trying to reach the floor, San Jose. Listen, yes, he has been hurt.
Uh-huh.
We all remember what he played like when he was healthy, though.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm just saying that $5.4 million bucks, that's all. Hey, that's Nick Hague money.
Man.
That's Kevin Ball money, dude.
Man, numbers really exploded today. It was crazy.
Sure did. Now, the Toronto Maple Leafs also signed, we didn't talk about this, Michael Pezzetta. 2 years, $7.75 million. Guys, just very quickly on Pezzetta, what do we think?
Nail gun. Very cheap deal. He's not going to play every day.
Okay, cool. Let's go to the Seattle Kraken, who...
I made a video. You can check it out on my channel.
Seattle Kraken, who are... I don't know, man.
We didn't already do the Kraken?
Well, did we do Lindgren?
No.
I don't think we did.
I did a video, but...
Yeah.
Okay.
It's hard to keep track, Jesse. I totally... the Kraken are...
We did parts of the Kraken.
Yeah,
remember
we
I
didn't do the
bought out
Lindgren deal.
the Grubauer deal?
Oh, yeah,
and I threw it
we
on
did.
screen. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, it's a live show, so we're coming back.
I wanna go to
We're swinging back to it, whatever. Lindgren, $4.5 million. You know, because, listen, if you can't score, why not just get more defense? And I know that they're hoping Matty Beniers and Shane Wright and these guys mature into the players that, you know, with star qualities that they hope they have. But we need to, I just need to ask the question about, like, what's the goal here? What is Kraken hockey?
What's cracking?
What's Kraken hockey, guys?
I just
when you play the
wanted
Bruins,
to leave as much silence as possible. That was awesome. Sorry.
when you play the Bruins, you expect what?
Ah! Who put me on the ice? I'm not a professional.
Okay.
Steve needs sleep.
Losing his mind over here. You know, Steve, by the way, Steve's like, I haven't slept well in weeks. And we're like, why? He's like, yeah, just because I might have to get up and do a video.
Well,
Why?
If the news breaks.
no, Adam. Be nice to your buddy.
What was the reason you haven't slept? It's just
I don't know. Just keep waking
We're
up.
talking about
just
the
keep waking up.
Kraken.
I hate it.
We're talking about the Kraken.
so the Kraken.
Yeah, they need more scoring pop, but like, it's difficult to listen. They did. I always grade on a curve with the Kraken.
I think I got a point here.
No, you do. You very much do. But they're improving a strength. That's great. Now you got to go out and improve your very obvious weakness, which is you don't score.
And you know how you solve it is you get Freddie Gaudreau.
You're also soft.
Yeah, that's true. So Marchman and Gaudreau help with that.
I liked the Lindgren deal a lot because I think that's good value for your left second defenseman there on the left side.
Yeah.
It just, to me, it's conditional on sending Jamie Oleksiak to the moon because I think like that contract for you is useless at that amount, and he's going to be a UFA at the end of next year. You might as well sell him at some point here to some team that wants that defenseman for depth, whether you retain on that or not. But that Lindgren contract looks so much better if you take this, remove Oleksiak, plug in there somebody who makes $1 million or $1.5 million, everything kind of fits together a lot better on their defense score. Up front, I do think they need a little bit more scoring, but maybe you're banking on Matty Beniers becoming that guy, Jared McCann getting back to that guy, and Shane Wright maturing into what could have been the first overall pick, and that fell in your lap. Like, there's pieces there in Seattle. It's not really clear yet what they're doing because there's still things to move around, but things look okay right now.
Adam, I think we should go to the chat.
Why do you want to go to the chat?
There's nobody care anything I said about Seattle.
You made a point.
I just talk and then it's gone.
I liked it. I thought it was a good point. Why
Yes, and
Thank you.
what do you
Thank
want in the
you.
chat?
You
What
did
do
really
want
well.
in the chat? What is it that you want in the chat? Oh, by the way,
Anything.
Rangers are getting a conditional first and second plus right defenseman Scott Morrow from the Canes. Oh, so they're going to get Morrow for K'Andre Miller. Post has been sold. Is that why you wanted me to go to the chat?
No,
Oh.
I didn't know that.
Oh, okay. Well, now I'm telling you.
I wanted to go to the chat.
I did know that, and I was holding it for after
Oh,
the
I'm
Kraken
sorry.
talk.
All right.
Because Hayden sent it to me. Thank you, Hayden.
Thank you, Hayden. Nick Bukestad, speaking of the Kraken.
You're just going to go to Nick Bukestad?
Yeah.
Do you want to do Miller?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know what the conditional first is. What's the condition on the first? We don't know.
All
It's
right.
probably based on, I would imagine, the Carolina playoff success. It's like, hey, if you beat us, then it becomes a first. Like, because that's the thing. So somebody pointed this out today with Keandre Miller, and I want to know what you guys thought. Somebody said, hey, is it disrespectful that the Rangers are completely happy to trade Keandre Miller to the
Yes.
Carolina Hurricanes in division?
Yes, it is very disrespectful.
Yeah.
That's
Kind of feels
dude
disrespectful.
who a lot of teams would look at and be like, oh, he might mature into something really good in the NHL. They clearly believe no. They're very comfy with not having Miller on their team, and they're very comfy with him coming to Madison Square Garden, 3 times a year?
Yeah.
Here's what we need. We need a Michael Russo style. Here's what the hell happened to the Rangers. Just meet the Grahams
We got
style
that.
takedown. Did we?
Yeah. There's Adam. Did you read that? I read most of it.
The which?
The Rangers article where they talked about everything that kind of happened this season.
Yes, I did read it, and I can't remember. I can't remember any time
If
right
you
now.
if
I'm
you
a
can't
disaster.
remember,
I'm
that means there
scrambled.
wasn't enough.
I'm scrambled.
If you can't remember, that means there wasn't enough in it. Because I'm still getting scolded like, oh, well, Trocheck said there was no players meeting. Like, oh, well, if one of the players in the room said, no, we weren't talking shit about their boss, then we should take them at their word.
Yeah.
So-
and Steve's a liar.
What you're literally talking about is inside the Rangers' 24-25 descent from playoffs to sell-offs. No one here is happy. That was Peter Baugh. He wrote that last week, the 19th of June. It's a really good read. You should read
Oh, that was months ago.
Yeah, that was a while.
June 19th?
it. Week and a half.
June 19th was at least 6 months ago. No, I can't wait to dig into
Yeah,
that.
no, it's
I
a
got to dig into that on the way home.
yes.
Audio. Friggin' The Athletic has that feature.
Yeah, that's cool. By the way, I like that they do that.
It is good.
Yeah. So listen, it's fascinating. I think so. A lot of teams now are saying the Columbus is even saying, listen, we got to get another top 9 forward. We got to get another top 6 defenseman. And they're saying they're not going to pursue it free agency. There's really nobody left. And there wasn't much to begin with. There will be a lot of trades. I'm curious about...
I think that's what all day tomorrow is going to be.
And everybody is talking about the fact that that everybody's trying to get better except for the Penguins. I can't imagine the Flyers are trying to get that much better.
Yeah, I think today showed that's not quite true.
Yeah, maybe the Flyers were trying to get better, but I don't think they are anymore.
They're like, how many deals today are very nakedly... Just trade me in a few months.
Yeah.
No, Klingberg is... No, they're going to see if he's a great Shark, and then they're just going to wait and see and maybe extend him.
Right.
Stop.
Right.
That's a second-round pick. Stop.
So...
Stop it.
So, Nick Bukestad, by the way, I just want to throw the Nick Bukestad in there. He is a former Kraken, so he is signed with the Blues.
Is he?
2-year,
He's a
1
former everything.
He is. He is a suitcase. There's no question about it, but he's tall.
He's always been.
Sure is tall. This feels, the Blues have signed him $1.75 million. This feels like a potential deadline packaged move guy, or good penalty killer, whatever.
I have an idea for an adaptation of trade trees.
Mm-hmm.
It's I just put a trade in front of you with a blank space, and you have to guess if the blank space is Nick Bukestad or Tanner Pearson.
Tanner Pearson signed today too. Did you know that? With
Yeah,
Winnipeg.
both of those guys always do.
Yes.
They're always available at the deadline. They always sign somewhere July 1st.
And every time you look at them, you go, I can see how they could be useful, and then they leave every team.
Hayden, how many contracts have Bukestad and Pearson played on in the NHL? Can you find that? Thank you. Hayden is on the case.
The conditions on the pick that the New York Rangers acquired from Carolina, it is the better of Carolina or Dallas's 2026 first-round pick, and those are both top 10 protected.
Well, that means that Carolina can't offer sheet anybody now because of that condition. Unless, I guess the better would be just the pick, whatever pick remains.
Yeah, that's interesting. Does the condition account for, well, the better one is the only one we have left because we traded the other one?
I don't know, but I'm sure they figured that out. Maybe you can message Tulsky and ask him.
Well, this was...
I already texted him, damn it, because the trade's announced.
The threat here was the offer sheet, right?
Yeah,
and that's why they extorted the Rangers of Keandre Miller. So I don't think they're worried about offer sheets anymore.
All right. With Utah, Brandon Tanev and Nate Schmidt are now Utah Mammoth. Mammoth. Mammoths. So Nate Schmidt, who played pretty good hockey with the Florida Panthers in a sheltered sort of third line role, he does the Oliver Ekman-Larsson. He signs for basically close to league min, plays well, and then gets almost $10.5 million on the other side, which is not bad. That's okay, right?
I like that team generally. It's
Brandon Tanev
not a sexy day.
Brandon Tanev got a 3-year, $2.5 million per deal. Well, the sexy day was John Jason Peterka.
Yes,
that was sexy.
It was very sexy.
And they have sexy players: Clayton Keller, Dylan Genther, Nick Schmaltz. I know Drew's favorite guy is Barrett Hayton. Drew loves him some Barrett Hayton. What does Tanev bring? What does Schmidt bring? And what can we really expect? Because their defense, assuming that Sergachev and Durzi don't miss the entire season again with concurrent injuries, looks pretty strong.
I mean, Schmidt's pretty solid in a depth role. I mean, you talk about sheltering on the Florida Panthers. I mean, you're basically under the canopy of the Amazon. But he in that depth role was able to still put up points. His defense still leaves something to be desired, to be honest. You do worry a little bit about the whole fat and happy effect. Like, all right, you just won a Stanley Cup and now you're cashing in. Hopefully he's still got that drive. I mean, I'm sure he's got pride. He's a professional athlete, but that's a bit of a tough one.
It's a little bit of an overpay for Schmidt.
Oh, certainly.
Well, in this economy, I don't know. Like, how different is it than like OEL? Which some people would call an overpay. Anyway.
It certainly isn't anymore.
No, it isn't. Like, if he was a UFA today, he'd be making probably what he is, except turn the 3 into a 4. And Hayden, I believe, has our Bugstad Tanner Pearson answer. They both signed their first contracts in 2012. And with today's contract, it's 6 contracts each.
Whoa.
Hilarious.
Do you know how much Nate Schmidt was making to play in Florida?
$900,000.
He signed on July 2nd, 2024. Adam, what's your guess?
$885.
$800,000. Both of you were over the number.
Wow.
He was making nothing, and he had a decent year in Florida. I don't think he was one of the top 5 most important defensemen they had. Maybe the 6th.
I hope Bill Zito's internet is always slow.
He was making $800 there, and that's coming off the Winnipeg contract or the Vegas contract that eventually was traded to Winnipeg and all that, where he's making like 5 something, and then now he gets back up to 3.5.
I hope Bill Zito gets only unskippable.
I think the 3.5 feels to me a little high for what Nate Schmidt is at this point of his career.
Yeah, I agree. But if you can get him into that third defense pair role where he can be sheltered, whatever, he can be affected. But I think you're right, Jesse. I think the market was what it was today. There was clearly a bidding war on Nate Schmidt, which is why. And I think he was like, I think they were bid up. I don't think that the Mammoth came into today going, we want Nate Schmidt at 3.5. I think that's just what the market dictated. Now, one more deal I want to talk about is Faravari in Washington, who is John Carlson's defense partner. His deal doesn't kick in until 26-27, but he got 7 years at $6 million. And we talk about Nate Schmidt costing 3.5. Faravari goes to open market in a couple of years here. Might be pretty expensive. Defensemen are expensive.
To me, like, Capitals fans really like this guy. So I don't have a problem with the deal. What I'm curious about, you already have Jacob Chikrin.
Yep.
John Carlson's obviously getting old.
Yep.
You have Faravari locked up now. What does this mean for Rasmus Sandin? That is what I would like.
He's 25. There's plenty of time.
He is 25, but when that contract comes up, like, when is it?
Oh, he's got
still
3 more years.
3 more years.
Oh shit!
That's
No
a good,
way.
dude. They have such a well-run
no wonder
team.
they're able to do that.
Their team's insane.
I think you keep those 3 defensemen on the left side, and then you're fun. You're fun.
And
time.
Well, that answers that. Damn.
yeah.
I didn't expect to have one so simply and easily.
Yep.
Thank you, Jesse.
Yep.
Shoot. The Capitals just keep doing good business, man. Give us Mangiapane.
Mangiapane has not signed yet, and another guy that has not signed yet, and it doesn't look like he's going to sign today, is Nick Ehlers. that is the belle of the ball now. That's the biggest name on the market. Before we kind of go here, and I don't know if you guys want to do some sort of question and answer thing, but I did want to
get a couple super chats.
Let's get some. We'll get some super chats, but I just want to get chat. I want your predictions on this too, guys. Predictions on Nick Ehlers. Where does he go? And what's the money? Because the money is now, it's gone from 7 to 8 digits from some reports. Jesse Blake, go ahead.
Easy answer for me. So I'll start. Nick Ehlers, I think he's a Carolina Hurricane. They still have tons of cap space available. They can pay him whatever he wants, and they do have a need for more scoring, and I think he helps that. So very easy for me.
If Tulsky ghosts us and then signs Ehlers, you got to give him the biggest AO next time. All right.
I'm gonna upgrade it to 5 Ys.
Okay. Good.
1 Y didn't work. 3 Ys got a response. 5 Ys might actually get English. I think Jesse's right with Carolina. And I'm going to throw wild card dark horse in there.
Give it to me.
San Jose.
Interesting. I mean, that's an exciting offensive group to play with.
To get them to the floor?
Well,
he will give you
they
15
have
mil.
a Nikolai Ehlers size hole between where they are and the floor. Mm-hmm. And like, let's be honest, they don't want to be this bad forever.
Yeah.
Right? At some point, you're going to have to. You can't just have an entirely young team. You got to surround these guys. You can't. Tyler Toffoli can't babysit an entire team.
3 guys I'm keeping an eye on this summer, who extensions are as of today allowed for. Mm-hmm. Kirill Kaprizov, Connor McDavid, and the one nobody's talking about, Jack Eichel.
I'm going to throw another one no one's talking about, Sergei Bobrovsky.
Oh, interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so those maybe those get done in the next few days. Maybe they don't.
I could see him retiring.
Bob?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's, what is he, 36 by the end of the season?
I can't imagine he would. I mean, you just traded Spencer Knight. You got to give them some opportunity to find. It can't be Tarasov.
That's not his
He won the cup. No one cares.
Yeah, that's not his business. Like, that's Bill Zito's problem.
You traded Devin Levi.
I think
won
he's
a
good
cup.
for 3
you
more
traded
years.
Spencer Knight. Won another one. No one gives a good gosh darn.
3 more years. 3 more years. Come on.
It's pretty old.
Stand him for 3 more years?
Do you give him $10 million, guys?
Fudge no.
All right, let's get to some super chats, gentlemen. I'm gonna run through some of the ones. Alex, I'm gonna just work backwards here. Alex Rio says, "Cheers, guys! Greetings from Switzerland. Loves you guys. Hope to visit one day. Thank you, Alex." Butthole says, "Your favorite and least favorite signing." Butthole.
Favorite. Stankoven's a re-signing, so that doesn't really count. So I'm trying to think of a UFA that really blew my mind, and I'm doing it with my brain on safe mode. Who really addressed the need?
Oh, right.
I need like the list in front of me.
Yeah, I was going through it right
Michael
now.
Pezzetta.
Michael Pezzetta. There you go. Jesse Blake. Favorite signing.
My favorite signing. This is hard on the spot without looking at the full list, so I'm going through the list right now. You know what I liked, and I don't know if this counts, but I'm going to count it. I liked that Vancouver was able to figure it out with Brock Besser.
Yeah, that's
and
a
bring
good
him back
story.
at that number. I think the number that they got him at is a pretty big discount considering what the numbers are for the other UFAs in the market, and getting him at that low 7 number is a really good deal. I think he fits in that team really well. He clearly is loved by the market. Brock Besser to Vancouver is my favorite deal of the day.
For UFAs, I know a lot of people don't really see the point in this, but let me give it to Granlund going to the Ducks. Like looking.
Just pick one. Pick one signing of the day.
I'm giving it to you.
Oh, I thought you already had it.
No, yeah, well, I was
no.
I said
He had to
that, but
think.
I was kidding.
Okay.
No, Granlund. I was confused by the fact that he picked the Ducks, but also just the fact that the Ducks were able to get him at a perfectly reasonable term, at a number that resembles a time before today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think he would have got this in regular times.
Yeah, in the before times.
In the before times, the long ago.
That's right.
But like today in this economy, I could definitely see him getting 8 or 9, man. Like maybe not 9, but 8. Yes.
I think the best signing of the day was by far Mitch Marner for $12 million.
Yeah, probably right.
Honestly.
I'm just gonna go ahead and give you my worst signing. It's Cody Ceci.
See, that's Darren Ferris propaganda.
You got to do your best.
Oh, my favorite is
When we clip this out, it's got to be all.
Connor Brown, New Jersey Devils. I'm always rooting for Connor Brown. It's maybe a year too long, but I think there were a lot of teams interested, and so therefore he got a big payout, and good for him. That guy came back from devastating injuries, and still put up 40 points last year. Connor Brown, I will always root for you. I really like that guy. I sort of wish that the Toronto reunion was on the cards, but I don't think that's possible.
You should throw in Jake Allen because you're on New Jersey.
I was going to say Jake Allen.
Well, you already said one.
Yeah, I already said one. Now,
adding to Adam.
We're signing. I'm going to go ahead. I already said it. Cody Ceci. Continue.
Adam says Cody Ceci.
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's. What did Jay Fresh say today? It was something like if he somehow convinces coaches to play him in important minutes and isn't very good at stuff. And I got an axe to grind with the. That's when I really lost faith in the Toronto management group, was Cody Ceci and them trying to tell us actually he's good and you're stupid.
All the actual smart people online were like, "Oh no, it's okay," because what they're gonna do is, and then Dubas didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
He likes him.
Oh, he's just keeping him. Well, he'll be on the third. He's with Riley. Okay. Well, maybe he's just gonna start. It's the entire season. Well, fuck me then. Like, it just sucked.
Yep.
I got mine if you want to
Go.
think.
Friggin'
I got mine
Tanner
if you...
Jeannot.
Tanner Jeannot. Okay.
Tanner Jeannot, because I hate it because he's gonna play against the Leafs and going to injure someone. But looking at it objectively, you're paying $3.5 million for the next half decade for a guy who puts up no points. That's insane. Especially when you could have just kept Trent Frederick, who is younger, plays other positions, and is more useful.
Yep. Okay.
Drew, coming to you as well. Who you got?
We're signing probably. No, I'd say Thatcher Demko. I just don't think he has full seasons left in his body. I think you should have moved on from him.
Interesting. I mean, listen, that was kind of our reaction when we saw it.
Yeah. It's a chance, it's a risk on like what he can be. I'll go with I was gonna go with Tanner Joe, to be honest. He's kind of stole it, but I'm gonna go with
I can go if you need me to.
I'm gonna go
I
with
can
Dan.
go if you
I'm going to go with Dan Vladar.
Oh.
I thought about it.
I feel bad for the Flyers because they clearly, I don't think Dan Vladar was their first choice. And it felt like they just had to go with Dan Vladar because that's the only goalie that you could get in this market. And I wish
Kevin Adams.
there was some way to work a trade where they could get a goaltender or sign someone better. But Jake Allen wasn't available for them. And they're like, okay, so there's no other goaltenders out there. Let's give Dan Vladar a 2-year deal at $3.4 million. I excuse the Christian Dvorak deal because it's 1 year. Who cares? You're not at the salary cap ceiling. Who cares? You can do it for 1 year and then get rid of it at the trade deadline. But committing to 2 years to Dan Vladar, question mark for me, I think probably worth signing. If I can't pick any of your three, because I think those were good.
I'd like to make a point.
Yes.
We did a podcast yesterday. We did a bunch of videos yesterday. We did videos all day today. I don't think we said a disparaging word about the Buffalo Sabres. And I think that's a victory. Usually on a day like this, we're like, look at the dumbass thing that they did. I don't really think they did that. Baby steps.
Moving on to the next one, guys. From Super Dope Hip Hop, who is realistically beating the Panthers 4 out of 7 times in the 26 to 30 playoffs if they're relatively healthy? Zito is a top 5, is on a GOAT GM run for any sport. What do you guys think? Eventually, it does run out, but it's hard to imagine the Panthers not being a monster in the playoffs again, at least next year.
I think they're going to carve through the East like butter.
Uh-huh.
Like, who the hell's stepping up?
Yeah.
Shit. I think they're primed for a three-peat. Who's stepping up?
I don't know who's going to beat them now.
Who made a move today that makes you go, good gosh darn,
Nobody.
Look at this old wagon.
Nobody. And I don't think anybody's got the balls to right now.
Even if the Hurricanes were the second best team in the East, even if they were the best team in the East, like, there's your ultimate nightmare stylistic matchup. You lose. They're primed for a three-peat.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Jesse, any thoughts?
I think the Florida Panthers should be the Cup favorites going into next season, and I don't see how a team is beating them. I think it's just the
And that's with
beginning and
Vegas
end of it.
adding Marner.
No, the Florida Panthers are the best team in the league. All they've done
And
this
losing
offseason is like get better as the Florida Panthers and have everybody stick around. Like that Brad Marchand addition at the trade deadline is so genius, and having that now for a full season only makes them better.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Where did all the tutting for the Chris Tanev contract go last year go for Brad Marchand, who's going to be the
43?
keeper by the time? Get out of here.
So a couple, I think like last week, we checked in on BetMGM about the Stanley Cup winner odds, and the Avalanche had the lowest odds to win the Stanley Cup. That has shifted. The Florida Panthers are now the favorites to win the Stanley Cup next season. The Panthers, Oilers, Avalanche, Hurricanes, Golden Knights, Stars is the top 6.
Question from Adam Wild in the Super Chats. Guys, are the Vegas Golden Knights good enough to challenge the Edmonton Oilers in the playoffs next year?
Yeah, challenge them for sure.
Challenge, beat.
I mean, they got
having Petro.
They got beaten pretty heavily this year.
Not having Petro.
If the
They
series
got
started-
walked.
If the series started tomorrow, I'm picking the Oilers.
Yep.
Hey, Drew says
Well,
no.
Drew, who you
If they
picking?
have Hyman.
Guys,
They do.
the Oilers just had to pay Bouchard. There's no way they can come back with a better roster than last year. They lost Perry. That's a big blow. I don't even think the Oilers are top 3 in their division.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
Oilers fans are a little ticked off today. They did dump a lot of salary with Kane and Arvidsson and all that stuff, but they didn't do anything.
You don't want to pay these prices.
That's true.
I think they did the smart thing by staying out of this market. I think the Leafs did the smart thing by staying out of this market and not paying Tanner Jeannot the $3.4 million. So I'm going to credit the Oilers too for not overpaying for the guys that were out there. The goalie market sucks.
Right.
Yes.
Like, don't go get whoever's out there. Like, sit on the sidelines, go do some deals deeper into the summer and later this week.
Now, last year, what we talked about with the Leafs is you're coming into the season with a forward group that is not as good. You're losing pieces. You lost Tyler Bertuzzi, who is a really important piece. And even though the cap is going up, the raises you have to give to William Nylander, to Austin Matthews, to a few other guys in marginal ways wipes out the fact that the cap is going up and then some. The cap is going up by a huge number, and Evan Bouchard is getting like a $5 million raise.
Yeah.
And Leon Draisaitl is getting a $5.5 million raise.
There it is. Yeah.
Like, Drew's right. Like, how do they come back better? I
think
have no idea.
The white whale for the Edmonton Oilers has to be Darnell Nurse's contract. Like, it's egregious that you're sitting on that deal right now and you're not paying for that to go away.
Can
and then
you hold
that-
on to it long enough for it to be good under the salary cap?
When are we holding on to 2035 when it's already expired anyways?
You might be able to move it 3 years after Connor's gone.
It's a bad deal.
That 9.5 needs to be reallocated so badly.
Yeah, it does. It does. So, okay. All right. So, you know what? We'll leave it there. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This is our third or second podcast of the week. So we will have another one Thursday. And it's an important programming note because we're doing Tuesdays and Thursdays from now on.
It's hot in here.
After this week, we will be down to 2 shows a week until the end of July. We usually take August off, although we do have content posting. And of course, if you're a VIP member, don't you worry. We have episodes for you all the way through August, and they'll be fresh and new, not like, repeats or anything like that. So it'll be fun. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to SDPN's Free Agency podcast, trade deadline. Why do I keep saying trade deadline? For a free agency thing. And let's go because it's hot in here. Let's just wrap it up.